Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. We've got a heater today, guys. We've got Jason Pizzino. He's the close to ex-vegan. For those of you that don't know. We will be discussing all kinds of stuff today. And we'll let the chat dictate where we take this one today, guys. We will also be checking out some reaction videos, I'm sure. Possibly looking at some current ex-vegans. Or sorry, some current vegans even. And just sort of milling over what we think about them. Where we think they're at in the their stages of veganism. Potentially their mindset. And we'll see how it goes. So dark. Drew is seducing me with his face in that thumbnail. Must resist. Eat the meat. Invite the bite. You're in Vegas, Francesca? That's where this, that's where EDC is going on. That's what I was just playing for you. Why would you get banned so dark? You gonna cause problems? Huh? You cause problems, you're going to get banned. All right? I welcome the trolls in the chat, guys. Just don't be an annoying troll. What that means to me is don't say the same thing over and over. My voice sounds different. Really? I don't like the sound of that. Let's pause the music. How does that sound? Does that sound normal? Better sound normal. I had something in my throat. Ooh, back to Boulder City. Utah? What is holding you back from trying raw meat? Nothing. I actually eat raw meat from time to time. Definitely fish. This is Diet Coke, yes, on ice because I'm classy. Because I'm classy. So, let's get the show on the road, guys. Any questions before Jason comes on? We got a few more minutes before he pops in here. We'll try and cover what we can. Any ideas that you guys want me to cover with Jason? He obviously went on with health coach Kate the other day. And they had a lot to discuss. It was after his premiere. Jason has essentially been challenging the vegan community in a way that nobody has done before. He's sort of, while he's still a vegan, this is what's interesting about the situation. While he's still a vegan, a current vegan, he's saying, I might not be vegan forever, and you shouldn't be mad at me for that. So it preemptively is telling his audience that he potentially may not be vegan forever. And he's sort of just seeing the reaction. We kind of saw that with Jackson, Plantriotic. But in this case, it's more direct. It's almost like Jason is saying specifically, I will not be vegan forever. I don't know when that's going to come. And the other side has a good argument for what they're doing. So even though he's still a vegan, he's being crucified as if he wasn't a vegan. It's very interesting. We're going to talk to him more about that today. Let's get a little background music in today. I got some juice in my throat. I just had a steak, like literally finished chewing it up as I walked in the door. I'm going to take a few days off. I told you guys I want to be transparent with some of my, or with all of my injuries and things like that. I've actually acquired a new slight injury. I want to be transparent about it. I've complained about chest pain for a while. And hold on. Always somebody doing something crazy outside my door. Outside my window, I mean. Move that shit. 5 minutes from Hoover Dam. I have had a piece of raw liver. I have not eaten a meal of raw liver. I'll tell you that much. Raw meat, guys, raw meat is not that delicious to me right now. So all I can say is when it calls to me, it calls to me. And I'll try it out. Hello, Salome. Welcome to the channel today, the stream today. She wasn't even hot. What are you talking about, Soap on Slope? So dark. I would say that cholesterol being 450 is very bad. Yes, I would agree with that. I don't know why it would ever be that high, even if you were consuming a ton. Hey, Lucy. How you doing? Are you a Lucy that I may know? I know one Lucy in the world. If you're her, then let me know. Keto Cowboy, welcome to the chat. Salome, of course. Yeah, this is San Holo. How did you know, Lo? Yeah, I'm not super into raw meat. It's just boring, man. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the chest pain. Don't worry, I'll get to that in 1 second. Okay, chest pain. I wasn't trying to drag that out. So, at first, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was super scared. I thought that something was going on with my chest in terms of the meat consumption. This started back in November. So what happened was I didn't work out I did my 40-day carnivore experiment, right? Still in Hawaii at this point. This is the end of October. I don't know if we're losing another vegan yet, Redheaded Princess. I don't think he's going to make that announcement today. Good evening, Garland Farms. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have all of you here. I'm in the middle of telling you guys a little story about my chest pain, all right? I want to be clear here and transparent. Okay, chest pain, guys. So, basically what happened was I stopped working out in October, late October, while I was still in Hawaii. So that last video you guys have seen on my channel where I did the 40-day carnivore experiment and then I report on my results as a carnivore, at that point I had already not worked out for like 10 days. My friends came to visit the island for a week. Obviously I didn't work out while they were there. Wasn't a top priority. We were just hanging out in the island. And then I came home to California all of November, no working out, except the very end of November. I was like, shit, I'm losing my fitness here. So in the middle of the day, I just randomly went out to the backyard. I elevated my feet and I did 2 sets of push-ups till absolute failure with no warm-ups, no nothing. And I pulled something in my chest on the outside, but I didn't recognize it at the time. It took a few days for it to actually kick in, and I didn't do any more workouts after that. Then I started noticing I had this really intense chest pain. Like I full on thought I was like potentially having a heart attack. Like I even got some pain in my arm, which is what they say, happens. So yeah, people will say I'm calling it now. People will take this out of context and say I have chest pain from carnivore diet. People will say that. So let's just get that out of the way. So then I don't work out again because in November I wasn't working out yet. I didn't start working out until early January. All right. So it's just at this point, it was a localized chest pain. Hi, Raw Alignment. Hi, Elise. Welcome to the chat. Elise is driving to California right now, guys. She's literally in the middle of driving to California from Colorado to move here, which is awesome. So back to the little story here. So I had chest pain throughout my chest. I really thought it was the whole bosom. Okay. And I would just be sitting on the couch, like wouldn't even work out for like a day or two. And then I was like, oh, fuck. And I'd be like massaging it and doing all, and I need to massage it too. You'll actually see me sometimes like pull up and massage my chest a little bit while I'm in the middle of these interviews because it affects me randomly all the time. I thought it was caffeine for a while. It wasn't caffeine. I thought it was the meat. It wasn't the meat. So it eventually settled into this outer region here. It's because the heart is mainly here, sort of on the inside, below the rib cage, obviously. But it's actually more on the outside. And it really localizes here. There's a space between the rib bones that is connected with cartilage and muscle tissue and the rib bones, right? So like this. It's this tissue in between. And that shit hurts, man. It's just from doing like pulling exercises all the time on the rings. I exacerbate it every single day. So, the rib cage stretches fully and then it contracts heavily. It hurts. I don't think it's electrolytes. It might be. I could be wrong. I'll supplement a little bit, but it hurts. I thought it was caffeine. It wasn't caffeine. I cut caffeine out for like a whole week. I was still getting it randomly and just as acutely as before. So potassium and magnesium, guys, huh? Experts on the electrolytes. All right. I do eat veggies. Damn. I do eat veggies sometimes. Come on. Rice. I have greens sometimes. I think it's an intercostal. Yes. And I have been doing exercises from Fitness FAQs. He's like the best dude ever on YouTube as far as I'm concerned in terms of calisthenics. I'll try and see if I can actually show you guys what I do. But I put my wrist against the wall like this. Right? And then I stretch it. This whole thing. This stretch. And it doesn't seem to alleviate it all the way, but I think I should have been doing that from the beginning. So I'm hoping that a regimen of that plus a few days off is going to heal. So it's not the worst pain known to man. And yes, I do think it is specifically intercostal chondritis. I have looked it up. It's funny because when I was in Colorado, I was talking to Elise and her roommates about this. And I was like, it feels like I have shin splints in my chest. And that's actually pretty much what it is. So, yeah. Well, we should have our boy pop in any second here. Our boy Jason Pizzino. Italian paisano. Got to manually manipulate it back into place. I don't think it's a out of place bone or anything like that. I think it just needs to be stretched and healed and just cared after. I'm gonna take a 5 days off of working out. I'm gonna be in San Diego all weekend anyways with Elise. She's coming by tomorrow. And then I'm gonna stay down there with her for a few days in San Diego, and then I will come back to my house after that and work out again. And I'm just going to let this weekend be an off weekend where I'm just chilling. I know, I don't like taking days off, dude. I don't like taking days off. I really don't. Borrow some of Frank's ball grease from CNC Broadcasting and rub that in. Physical therapist? No. I'm a self-medicator, all right? Clown Mazard, that's a good point. Jason does say he has good digestion as a vegan, and I will ask him more about that. Tom Merrick is also good too. Yeah, I agree, by the way. Tom Merrick is dope. Him and Fitness FAQs are the top, in my opinion. Obviously, there's, what's that dude all tatted up in Florida? I forgot his name already. Oh, Thenex. He's obviously good, but I feel like those guys are just a little bit more, possibly steroids. I don't know. Jason Pizzino is a vegan without the vegan label. That makes him very special. Yeah, and most people do not have good digestion. Hey, welcome to the channel, LA Mathwitch. Hopefully Elise gets to enjoy this on her 12-hour drive to California. She's just sitting in the car probably with the phone set up and hopefully can hear us, which will be cool. What's up? What's up, Jason? I sent you the link, buddy. If you check your email, you should be able to pop in anytime. And I'll pull you right in. Isla Mazard, the intellectual mastermind. Yes, he'll probably crush me. I'll bring him on. I'll bring anybody on now. Guys, I fear nobody. I don't care if they disagree with me. I don't care if I hate them. There's very few people I hate online, by the way. There's a couple of them that are very annoying. Very, very, very annoying just by looking at them. I like Klaus, though. Welcome to the chat test cruise. VR. Who's VR? Looking hot AF today. Ooh. Thank you, LA Methwitch. Isel is hella pretentious. Let's bring him on, though. Thank you, LA Methwitch. Oh, Vegan Revolution. I would have Vegan Revolution. No, I wouldn't have him on the channel. Sorry. Vegan Revolution is not allowed on the channel. I was thinking of Vegan Foot Soldier, and he is invited on the channel. Although I did take it away from him. So he's not currently invited on the channel. Him and Mark Tassi, no invite. No invite. Yes, you're welcome, Klaus. And I would like to have you on, by the way, Klaus, again in the future, like a proper discussion. Soap on Slope wants a carnivore dating app. My dating app, you know, it's actually down right now. I took it down. Vegan Revolution and Mark Tassi are potentially brothers from another mother, yes. Just spit on myself. Jason, you got me, bud?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Let me know when you're all set up. Yes, I can.
Yeah. Sweet.
It's a bit choppy, though. I'm not sure what's going on.
Go on.
It's a bit choppy. I'm not sure what's going on exactly.
Mine should be sweet. All right. How's it now? Any better?
No, it's very, very choppy. Let's just remake this call. I'm gonna send you another one to that same link, okay? Give me a second.
Okay. Yep.
No worries, guys. Technical difficulties. This is standard now. It's standard for me. All right, let's make a new. Easy money. Guys, I've had a new contender. Tara from Living Free seems to want beef with Drew. Well, kind of. She tried to call me out the other day. If you guys aren't familiar with the situation, she tried to call me out on her Instagram, saying I'm a murderer and an animal killer and didn't make the connection and all this crap. So I ended up talking to her in her comment section, and she told me to go fuck myself, actually, quite quickly into the conversation, might I add you. So her patience level was extremely low. And then I responded back with her a few times, along with other people, some of her fans hating on me hardcore. And what ended up happening was she blocked me and she banned me from her channel, even her Instagram, even though she was the one who called me out and started talking this shit in the first place. The thing that finally pushed her over the edge and made her block me was because she was talking about studies, and I said, okay. And I gave her the study where the Health Research Council points out that 84% of people who go vegan leave the vegan ideology, leave vegan and vegetarianism. And I said, hey, this is your people presenting that information. So I'm not sure like what you're upset with me for. And I said, it looks like you're spending a little too much time out there on the Sea Shepherd. You're quite disconnected. Your information's old. And she blocked me and banned me after that. So that was it. That was the extent of our exchange.
Testing.
Testing one. I got you loud and clear now. You look good.
Sweet.
Uh-oh. Now it's... Oh, I think I know what's going on. When you are going into the other window, it's... Yeah. Can you hear me now? There we go. I think I know what's going on. When you are... I can hear myself, too. Going into the other window, it's... Yeah. Can you hear me now? There we go. I think I know what's going on.
I'm trying to listen to you back so I know what's going on. Red Bull.
Yes.
All right. I'm in the app and I'm not doing anything with it.
Yeah, so I think what's going on is when you are going to the YouTube screen to look at the chat, it's it's not giving your webcam priority and it's getting all choppy. So you look, yeah, it's like your webcam is freezing.
All right,
but you have headphones on, I see.
I'm on my phone for this hangout, and I had the laptop going for the chat. So I'm on 2 different devices, and I've got 2 different internets running.
Ah, okay. So are you set up now?
Yeah, set up. I can't see anything else. All I'm looking at is you.
Okay, all right. Let me get you on the side by side. All right, guys.
Oh yeah.
Welcome, Jason Pizzino, to the chat, to the
Thank
channel. I will give you the grand intro, as I like to do with people. So,
fantastic.
I've been watching Jason Pizzino, I would say, guys, since the very earliest days of me being vegan, the earliest days that I can remember. The first thing that I remember from you actually is you making your avocado toast tutorials videos back in the day, and I actually use that stuff, which is basic. I mean, avocado, spread it on toast, throw a little, I think you were doing like raw garlic as well, which is what I also like to do on top of it.
No, that was old days. Mum taught me that one.
Very, very old days. And then I think you moved to Thailand shortly after that. Along with that's leading you into the dark girlfriend days. We don't need to talk about it. And then I remember you on some obscure beach in Thailand eating like veggie burgers, and you're kind of like, you're being acclimated to the vegan processed food basically. And then I think I trailed off of your content at that point, but I always thought you had great gains. And I always admired like your calisthenics workouts and stuff like that in the beginning. And then I think you shifted a little bit more towards the gym stuff, which is also cool. And then, but you've maintained a great physique the entire way. You are now a long-term vegan. I'm not sure how long you've been now, over 6 years, right?
6.5.
6.5 years vegan. And most recently, you've popped back up on everybody's radar because you've made this video about the thought experiment of potentially no longer being vegan, which is very interesting because most vegans wait 6 months afterwards to come out and tell their people. And you're preemptively telling people that it may happen and it might not happen. We're not really sure. But if it does, you're sort of prepping people to deal with it before it even happens, which is interesting. Nobody's done that before.
Yeah. I think because you can see from the backlash why no one wants to do it. They just want to make sure that all of their boxes are checked before they do it, and they're like really deep into back into animal products. And I'm pretty sure I'll be having some seafood and fresh seafood stuff when I get to Europe. I'm leaving in a couple of weeks. I'll live there for a few months. But yeah, I wanted to let other people know, because there's been several, I've got several dozen. I've only got a small channel now, but there's a lot of people who still follow me from the early days. And I think I owe it to them at least, not to everyone else. Like, you see the reaction, the people who are just there because you fit their agenda. Like, the reaction I got from them is just, it's not worth it. They can do their own thing.
So let's talk a little bit more about why are you considering not going vegan? What's not working for you?
What's not working? I think connecting it in my head again. The diet's been fine. It did. I don't want to give anything to the diet because I haven't said this all along. It is fucking like a bit stinky in the digestion at times, especially if I have to eat more because, I'm training a lot more now. I haven't really worried about that too much in the past, but, because I got on a meat diet as well, it just depends how much I eat. Then it's sort of like, digestion's got to do its thing. I don't really feel any really bad from it. It just has to do its thing and work it out, and I'm sweet to go. That could be the main thing from health. So I'm not really like phased about that. It's more the connection when it comes to the environment, our omegas, and just where the food is being sourced. And I'm not concerned about it being sourced that it's using up too much, I don't know, what CO2s and gases and stuff to get the transportation here. It's more that the food is being grown in the area that I live in. I got onto like Dr. Jack Cruz. I don't know. I've mentioned this to a few carnivore guys or keto people, and they hadn't really heard of Dr. Jack Cruz.
I haven't either.
You haven't heard of him?
No.
No. I found it a few months ago. It was from my uncle who's a vegan,
Mhm.
but Dr. Jack Kruse doesn't talk anything about veganism. He says vegan's wrong,
Hmm.
not in a harsh way, just like, you're not going to get your omegas regardless of what the other science says. So anyway, watching him, to cut a long story short, he talks a lot about sunlight and magnetic waves and then your essential fatty acids.
Mhm.
So that, I was kind of thinking of that. And then to match all the other bits and pieces of, the vegan propaganda, we're ruining the environment, the animals, this, that, the other, the health. It was kind of the reason why I came to veganism, because of all those things. Are like, wow, I'm getting lied to by advertising and the government and the meat industry that, we should be consuming all these animal products when in fact a vegan diet is more healthy, it's better for the environment, blah, blah, blah. And then you later realize that, okay, well, the propaganda has just gone the other way to the extreme. And now I need to find a balance in between. And that's why I put out the post, because I don't think there is a one diet fits all. I know you're probably coming more so from the carnivore thing, but
Yeah.
I assume, like most carnivores, they have a more open mind, not to discredit a lot of vegans, but it's just like the loud minority of vegans that we hear online that like to think that there is only one way. It's like, no, there's more than one way to live a good lifestyle and can be in tune with the environment.
So it's more of, and you've been enlightened from the standpoint that the environmental stuff wasn't as stout of an argument as you originally thought, basically? Is that what's turned you off from it?
I think it's a combination of everything, but the main one thing is that I did not feel within myself that I was living true to me,
Hmm.
and I'm a part of nature. So in turn, I'm not living true to nature.
Okay.
I felt myself being drawn a lot more towards fishing and, uh,
Hmm.
you know, getting your seafood yourself. Like I live on the beach, or I can see the beach from my window, and I see people fishing out there, and I'm like, how is that not a more sustainable lifestyle for the individuals that can do it? Because we're all in our different, parts of the world. How is that not more sustainable than, trying to eat a store-bought, factory-made vegan diet that I have to go and source every day?
So to play the vegan argument here, that it's, I agree, I totally agree with you on that. Like there should be no
Yeah.
disputing pulling a fish out of the ocean yourself with your own rod is more sustainable and locally sourced and all this stuff, and creating the least amount of emissions, right? Like that's, I don't even think vegans would argue that. But what they then step in and say is, A, it's cruel, but we can just park that for a second. But what about the health aspect of that? Like they believe that any amount of animal protein is like detrimental, cancerous, rotting.
Mm.
How do you feel about all that stuff now?
I just think it's a load of propaganda,
Mm.
and it's been amplified because you've got the vegan science doctors trying to find whatever articles they can, and then they piece it into some, you know how it works. It just becomes an echo chamber. And I remember that before I went vegan, because it's like, oh, you hear the same thing about plant foods, and then the vegans are saying, well, that's all lies because it's the meat industry telling you this. And then it's like, from the other side, oh, well, that's all lies. It's the plant industry telling you, that soy's not bad, blah, blah, blah. Like when I just looked at Jack Kruse's stuff, and then when I just listened to myself, not to any of these science fucking papers, all this jargon, it's like, what feels right for me?
Mm.
And if that doesn't work, I'll pay the consequences for it later.
Mm.
But up until this point, when I follow myself and my intuition, things work out. And that's the way I think everyone should be living. You got to trust within yourself, not within other people.
Well, that's what that's part of what the propaganda relies on, because it says, hey, there's things that you might think are healthy and enjoyable for you right now, but you're doing it for pleasure or
Yeah,
for taste. And guess what? Those things will stack up in your arteries and you're going to get a heart attack when you're 55 years old. And just look at the world's number one killer, heart attacks. What does everybody eat? Meat, right? So it's
yeah,
like it's an obvious connection, even though it's very poor in terms of the real scientific correlation standpoint. Yet it's striking fear into the hearts of everybody. Even omnivores or just your average person believes in reducing red meat, right? Like that's a common thing. Like even a normal doctor would say, hey, you've had a heart attack, like lower your red meat. And they probably have a good point, because most people aren't just eating carnivore or red meat. They're eating bread and pasta and all this other stuff with those highly cholesterol laden foods, the high fat foods. yes, you're going to produce poor health while consuming meat if you're consuming all this other processed crap food with it. And that's, I think, what we're starting to realize. And even that sort of high level health, nutrition information is starting to seep into the minds of the average like us, because we're all hunting for that information. A lot of us have seen people in our family or friends die of heart attacks in their 50s and 60s. It's like, whoa, what the hell was that? Like, it's like a heart attack is guaranteed to kill you in your 50s or 60s at this point, versus like, but it's just as bad and just as shocking as somebody being hit by a car. Like, imagine, your 60-year-old, imagine getting the call that your 60-year-old grandfather was hit crossing a crosswalk. Like, that would devastate you. But this is happening on a very consistent basis in regards to heart attacks. Yet this is taking people left and right. We should be concerned with this information. So,
in terms of the health, yeah. And I don't think people are eating like quality animal products, beef, whatnot. When people are eating animal products, we know it's just like it's in burgers or hot dogs or processed or any of this sort of junk. Especially when I was eating meat, I was very one for getting it from the animal. I'd make friends with my butcher. I would take cuts of huge ass meat and I would cut it up myself. I'd make my own sausages. I'd buy the intestines and make my sausages up, because, I mean, that's something that was like something that I really loved to do, and I saw my grandparents doing it and all that. So I learned about it. Plus, I was very interested in health, and I was interested in nutrition, and then also like being able to do it myself, being self-sustaining. So yeah, I don't know, when it comes to people, and you just see that they're not actually, if we're talking about the red meat, you can tell they're just getting it from any other source. No one knows how to buy a steak and cook it. No one knows where it comes from. No one has and I say no one as a generalization, obviously.
sure. City slickers.
It's like where it's coming from, what their intention is. And just going back to your point about the vegans saying, well, the propaganda is that you're building up this, blocked arteries if you're eating this meat because you're just satisfying your taste buds and pleasure now. Again, this comes down to you and what your intention is when you are eating these products. Are you eating it because it's just something quick and easy and you have to get something down? Or are you actually thinking about your meals and how they're going together, and then you've got a bit of a plan for it? And I don't know, I'm a bit more about the energies with it, and as science evolves, it's also understanding the energies about it.
Now when we say energies, are we talking on a spiritual level? Like, because I do have, what's that?
I'd say both. If you energies on the spiritual level and on whatever's in the food,
Okay. Because I have friends like in Hawaii that were very interested in potentially looking at animal foods, but the thing that really turned them off about it right off the bat was like, how do you feel when you're consuming this food? As in, like, from an energetic, spiritual standpoint, like you're now consuming the fear and the death of this animal, and that's now going into you, and there's no way to, like, in their mind, that's a direct connection. And in my mind, that's not a direct connection. In my mind, that's something that you have to believe is happening to you for it to actually matter. And, when we look at like cavemen, for instance, they're not thinking about the fear and the death of the animal. They're just trying to survive, and they are trying to pass on their genes, basically. And I look at it from a very maybe simplistic standpoint, but it serves me to believe that way, because the way that I feel now and the strength that I feel now is certainly much better than it was as a vegan, especially towards the end of my vegan days. And really, when I tap into myself, as you said earlier, like I'm convinced. I don't need a scientific study or anything to point anything out to me at this point. Like, my research is done. Of course, I'm happy to learn more as time goes on, but just based on. But
you're also happy to pivot if you have to.
Sure, yeah.
If you had to go back to a raw vegan diet for a period of time, 2 weeks, a year, whatever, you would do it. Whereas, sure. I think the point. Well, I think
I'd have to be convinced it was healthy for me.
Huh?
I think I'd have to be convinced that it was very healthy for me. Like, there'd have to be a reason to do it. It wouldn't be because of like emotional feelings or something like that. Like, and it would have to produce results quick. If at some
point you felt like, fuck, I'm getting a bit heavy in the gut, or I'm getting a bit heavy in the mind or something, and for whatever reason, you just like, I'm getting drawn to eating a mango. Like, yeah. What's the harm in that?
From my standpoint?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think I would eat a mango. I would eat fruit. I do eat fruit.
Yeah. And if you had to do that for a period of a week or 2 weeks, whatever period your body's like, all right, let's just keep doing this, you'll do it. Because knowingly, you're like, well, if I do it and I feel better from it, then I can trust myself more and I don't have to keep looking externally for all the information. I think
Yes.
that's a big problem in the vegan, like the dogma, where it's like you can't look beyond the plant kingdom,
Yes,
and there's
because
a
you're a bad
lot to be
guy.
had from the animal kingdom.
Yeah. So what's stopping
Yeah.
you now? Why aren't you feasting on animal foods now? What's stopping you?
Uh,
Or
I
have you
want to.
taken your first luscious bite?
No, I haven't yet. I know you wanted
Okay.
to get that on camera. Um, I want to, if I when I do it, I want to have it a bit more, not strict, but I want to be like a bit scientific about it. You know, if I'm going to eat it, then I'll have like, my own piece of fish and then see how I
Hmm.
feel from that, or backyard eggs and I'll see how I feel from that. Because I don't want to
Hmm.
just like have it in a meal and be like, oh yeah, no, I feel better. It's like, well, was it that, or was it the other thing in the meal, or was it this, or was it the time of day? Like, I want to see for myself and then move on.
Can I make a suggestion for you when you do try this experiment?
Yeah.
This is why I liked carnivore right off the bat, or this is why I liked going full carnivore right off the bat, because there was no you knew the distinguishment. You knew you were eating all animal foods, and you didn't have to guess what was the plants mixing in with the animal foods or what was giving me good or bad digestion. No, all animal foods. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. At least give yourself a few days. Whether you choose to go 40 days or a year, it doesn't matter. You just give yourself some time, obviously more than 24 hours to let your digestion clear out and everything like that, so that you can truly
Yeah.
feel how it is to just eat those foods. And that way it will give you a baseline feeling of, hey, this is what animal foods does versus all plants. That's just my suggestion to anybody who's thinking about doing this. And you don't have to eat
Yeah,
that
you
way
did.
forever, but it's just for the science of it.
Sure. That's, yeah. I would think for a meal or two. But yeah, like you're saying, it makes more sense to do it for a few days so that you can then tell what it is.
Yep.
I'm sort of letting it go with life at this point because, I go to Europe in a week and a half and, I could do it there. I could go maybe catch up with Bobby at some point, see what happens.
Yeah. That would be cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to. I've been trying to
What are you
we've been chatting a little bit. So yeah, hopefully we can work something out.
what are you like feeling like consuming? What's drawing you to it the most right now?
The main things when I was looking at this months ago was fish, like seafood, because of, I don't know, like how easy it should be in the environment to get. If I got to go and get a deer or something, like I don't know where the deers are here, you know?
Yeah.
So then it's like small farms that are locally. Sure, you could do that too, but I don't know. Seafood just seems like the thing. My family's Sicilian. I grew up with it. Sicily, we got seafood everywhere. It's a whole bloody island.
Did you fish growing up or hunt or anything like this?
Fish, yeah, I fished a lot when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty boring, but my grandparents loved it, so we'd always go out and fish. They got like a property on another island here. Our coast of Australia, there's a couple of islands out, so they had property there. Backed onto the
Mm-hmm.
water, they would always be fishing. I'd go out with them. I got bored of the fishing, but I enjoyed like killing and cleaning the fish.
Mm-hmm.
That would get it, snap the neck or whatever you need to do, and then like I would gut it, scale it, clean it, and then just they caught so many that I was like 8 years old or 9 years old, and I'm just like cleaning fish after fish after fish. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, guys, this is just a point I got to address. Like the vegans out there is like a lot of us that grew up doing this. Like I was born and raised in a city. I'm sure you were born and raised in a city, but
Yeah.
like certain things that were passed down by our families, like fishing for me was something that we did as young kids too. And I love that part of it. I love the blood and guts, cutting the worms up, sticking them on the hook. I liked all that stuff. I liked throwing fish up for the birds to eat, and stuff like that. Like I thought all this stuff that current vegans now who never grew up doing that stuff, they have like this huge aversion to it and they want to make people seem like sicko, weirdo, bad guys. Like, man, when you're 5 years old or 10 years old and you grew up doing that stuff, it's really normal to you. It's really normal to you. So like when they talk about,
to throw the vegan thing at you, which you probably
yeah,
already know, it's like, well, you're just being taught this, and you're like, well, I mean, it's in the environment, but as a kid, you would throw a tantrum if you didn't want to do something.
sure. But most little boys at that age are interested in doing that. Sure, there's going to be the one odd kid that doesn't want to do it. That's fine. But
Yeah.
my point to them is that they say you wouldn't want to go kill a cow or a chicken with your bare hands as a 30-year-old man that never did it before in your life. Yeah, I watch cow videos, especially these halal videos where they slit the cow's throat, turn the cow upside down, blood spraying all over the wall. It's fucking hard to watch that, man. For me, it's hard to watch it. But my point is, the people that grew up around that, just like me and you growing up fishing and cutting fish up, and we don't think twice about it. Like, it was hard for me for a vegan to convince me that eating a fish was this super horrible, terrible thing and they have feelings and brains. Yeah, I get that, but it just doesn't register to me the same way because I grew up doing that,
Well, look, to add to that now, I have a bit more like intention towards it, or a bit more of a thought. It's like, I'm thankful for this animal and what I get to use it for and what it's doing for my body, and just the whole cycle of it. Whereas I was disconnected back 6-7 years ago. I understood the animals were there, they're there for us. Whereas now I feel like, what happened?
We got you back, kind of.
Back?
I can't see you. There we go.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
you were
but now I
disconnected.
feel like I've got a bit more connection to it and I'm more appreciative of it from what I was before.
Absolutely. Like there's an intelligence and a maturity all around that goes along with it, for sure. And
yeah,
yes, there's even some lessons to take from the vegan experience to be like, okay, like we're not just out here, I don't know if you guys are aware in Australia, but we're taught about it in U.S. history where the cowboys basically were just shooting buffalo from the the trains as they're transcontinental railroad, literally wiping out all the buffalo on the United States plains because they're just target shooting. They had no concept of, animal conservation or letting these animals breed to a point. They just decimated the entire population. Now, clearly with education and maturity, like we learn that would be a bad reason. That would be a bad thing for even the carnivores. We don't want to just go completely out of balance in one direction. We also don't want to do it with like some weird sociopathic psychosis. I'm not trying to go and stab my neighbor's dog, Like we have certain built-in mechanisms that let us know what's right and wrong. But at the same time, if we know we need to eat something, then it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad guy, but that's what the vegans like to portray, in my opinion.
And they just kind of like wipe history because that goes towards the agenda. And, say the thing with the dogs, like, oh, would you kill a dog, but you wouldn't kill a dog, but you'd kill a pig or something like that. And like, no, like dogs evolved with us. If that story is true in history, they came to us and we worked together. And I think most people understand how that worked. It's like, that's why we don't kill dogs. I don't know why the Chinese do it. I don't know why half the Asians do it. They've got their own reason. I still don't agree with that. But, I like eating, well, I haven't eaten it yet, but the seafood thing makes more sense to me than killing a dog.
Yeah, but they would say, hey, I would just say they would say, hey, that doesn't matter. All sentient animals have the same value. But then here they are killing very small rodents and things like that for their food. So it's like, who's choosing? It's that's the ethical debate is completely destroyed in my opinion. Like, shit, I'll argue with the vegan over the health before I'll argue over the ethics at this point. Like, why do they even get to have any leg to stand on at this point? We know that the vegans are killing a lot of people or a lot of animals for their foods. It's not even debatable. I mean, that's just the way that it is. And that's fine. If you want to eat grains, still, I'm cool with that. But don't say that you're a better guy because of the type of animals that you're killing, or completely neglect that fact altogether, which that's my issue with it. That's one of my issues with it. There's a lot of issues I have with veganism. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, yeah, that's fine. Like, to do with that, I've mentioned it to a few of them, and then they go down the unintentional and the intentional. And, I'm sure you've been over that debate multiple times on the channel with all the guests that you've had on. It's like, it's all intentional. Look, I'll still look at it like...
How do you think about that, though? What do you think about intentional versus unintentional killing?
It made sense when I looked at that Rob Farmer's video, like, it's all intentional because they know it's going to be grown and then plowed and then that's going to happen.
Right. It's still intentional.
It's intentional. And so then it starts to go down those real like narrow roads that we're talking about. It's like, oh, as a carnivore to be the most ethical, it's got to be hunted. Right. And then the vegan goes down the most ethical road. It's like, well, it's locally sustainable food that I can grow in my backyard, and you can get like huge crops from just a small area, and you're using all those sort of plants to eat. that's still vegan and you don't have to kill any animals that way. And I'm like either way is not sustainable for everyone. You know, not
Good
everyone
point.
can hunt. Everyone did. If we had a few people that were hunting and then they brought the food back for the population, there's still probably not going to be enough animals out there to feed everyone the amount of meat that's on a carnivore diet. But there's one thing that we're all in agreement with is the factory farming of animals. Like,
I'm in agreement, but I still consume it. I will say that. I have to be transparent there.
Yeah. And it's like, how do we fix that for ourselves? And that's kind of our journey, I think. I don't think it's someone else to tell us one way is right or wrong. The one thing that really started to kick up with me with the vegans is that they wanted to take away other people's rights. And then they say, well, what about the animals' rights? And I'm like, it's the animal, right? You know, they have their own right to live out in the wild, and they're going to get ripped apart at some point in their life. Humans going to put a bullet through their head and it's going to be quick. It's the most ethical death for them. So if it's about the animals, that is about the animals.
See, that's the part that becomes completely illogical, or it's too logical for them to grasp, because it's I was thinking about this while walking the other day. Like they'd rather feel good about something than the way that it actually is. Does that make sense? Like they'd rather feel like they're not harming something because they weren't intending for that to happen. But when you actually look at what really happens to those animals, then it's very hard for me to put into words, but essentially they'd rather feel good about it than what's the reality of that situation. You know, like, okay, I'm not eating a cow. Okay, well, okay, I know cows aren't in the wild. Let's talk about deer as for example. Like there's no good death for a deer in the wild. It's going to either get sick and die on its own, break a leg and die on its own, and then get eaten by a wolf while its busted leg is there. You know, there's a million gruesome ways for these animals to die, and they're all terrible. And again, taking a bullet from the hunter through the heart, although it may be premature, it's still a better death than what they're going to get anyways. You know, and it's all part of the circle of life to begin with. So what's the argument?
Yeah. It's like, if you want to involve yourself in that, you have to understand that. And I think that's a big part for people who eat meat, is that this is what happens. And this is, you have to take that emotion or that energy on and then process it and then understand and realize, is this something I still want to do? I think that's the missing part in our whole food chain. And I'm sure a lot of people talk about that as well. You know, we've been disconnected from our food. If you're just going to go and get something that's bought from the shop and don't make that energetic, emotional, whatever connection with how it got there, then I think that can lead to health problems down the track. I don't think you're making the connection with what it is that you're eating. Like, that's, people ate food because they understood, you know, where it came from and, you know, what it took to get there and what that animal had to go through to produce that food for them. Taking that away is like dehumanizing, I think.
I thought 100% while I was vegan that within 100 years, the world would be vegan. Like, I really thought that. And not only just from laws, and I'm a big freedom of speech person. I'm total American, gun rights, all this stuff, right? But I was getting close. Like, man, if animal foods are this bad for us, like, maybe they should be illegal. Like, maybe that does make sense. I was starting to go there a couple percentage points, but then, you know, something happened and something changed along the way. But I was thinking that way for a while. Like, man, maybe it would be better off. Like, I'd see parents feeding their kids, like, especially processed crap food, like McDonald's or something.
Either way, it's like, even if it's the vegan stuff, like, that's still processed garbage.
Absolutely.
I was down for that. I was, like you saw when I was in Thailand, I sort of started that. I'm like, I wanted to introduce other things. I was kind of getting sick of just eating whole foods all the time. It's fine, it's healthy, but you got to have something else in your diet. And just having the processed stuff. I mean, I was for it. I'm still for it. Like, you eat whatever you want to eat, but there's going to be ramifications, right? So
definitely.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat, Bobby. Welcome to the chat, Megan Elizabeth. Glad to see everybody here participating, saying what's up. Guys, if you are just checking in, we are here with Jason Pizzino. We're just discussing a little bit of animal ethics stuff. You know that the DrewMorg channel doesn't really get too deep into that, but we got to cover a little bit of it to understand where Jason's coming from in his current journey. He's potentially well, most likely not going to be vegan forever. He's already kind of
No, I won't.
come out
No,
with
no.
that.
Like, I think the change of the mindset
Mm,
says it all. Like, and the other thing was vegans. It's they're just pulling it in a different direction. You know,
mm.
like you have to be. It's not for everyone, but you kind of get the feel like if it's vegan, then the whole feminist thing comes with it, and the environmental has to come with it. You know, if
It's an SJW situation. We gotta be real here.
exactly. I don't know how much political stuff you get on this channel, but you know, I've talked about it a fair bit on my channel, and it's like, well, how can you be, how can you be libertarian and still be vegan? You know, it's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
fuck, there's plenty of different ways to live your life. So
I
the
think.
thing with the vegans trying to take, sorry, I'll just finish
Mhm.
this, trying
Sure.
to take rights away from other people, that really turned me off. And if that
Mm.
is what vegan is and that's the way it's going, then I'm not vegan. Like, fuck that.
Right.
Everyone has their right. What
Okay.
about the
So
animals' right? Fuck, we already talked about that. Go on.
no. So with the ethics stuff and with the, I think that I know that you're not anti-vegan or you're not even ex-vegan yet, but the thing is to me that's an argument that the vegans want to take you for a ride on, because you can make somebody believe that killing an animal doesn't feel good and that it's bad and it's bad for your conscience and the human animal rights and all this stuff. Like, that is more of an opinion-based situation. I like to just stick to the health, man, because to me, health is ground zero. This is step one. We need to figure this part out before any of the other shit matters. You know what I mean? Like, what if we knew
that's the part that we went down, right? Like, when we
well,
try
it
and
was
just
it was
stick to
alleged.
well, we're trying to just stick to science, and science is going to show us either side. There's some good with
Yes.
some plants, there's some great with some animal products. And then when we try and do this and just stick to science, that's when we have these debates, and then people will automatically pick one or the other. And it's
Well,
like, it's not
I
about
want to
that.
stick to health truth without science. I don't say to bring science in. However, I do think
All
it's
right.
good to have a foundation. But like you said, and you already said this a couple times, is that we have science on both sides. And I've been with that argument for a long time. So let's learn to trust ourselves. And the vegans fucking hate that. They
Yes.
hate that worse than anything, because now you're giving people the keys. You're saying, hey, I'm going to give you the tools to see what is actually healthy for your body and what's not. How does that sound?
Yeah.
And the vegans are like,
Yeah.
no, look at Dr. Cracker. And they want to show you those studies to back up what they're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm not for that. We've discussed that. It's like, it has to be from you, and then you have to be able to have just like an open mind or an open, energy, anything. You just have to be open to allowing other things in, other thoughts to then process and then experiment with that. But if you're blindsided and you block things off, then you're just going to do yourself harm,
Absolutely agree.
regardless of what it is. Yeah.
What do you think makes a successful, healthy, long-term vegan that can perform on all levels? Like, I would consider that you right now. I mean, unless there's something going on with your health that we don't know about publicly, and it's your right to keep it secret or not. But like, we can use somebody else's example just at first. Like, I look at a Derek Simnett, for instance. He's got good gains. I'm pretty sure he's natural. He seems energetic. He seems healthy on all levels. He says he has good digestion. Like, there's no flaws in his game. Yet he's consuming a primarily whole food plant-based diet. Of course, I brought up the Vivo Life protein powder that has digestive enzymes and nutrients in that. So that's a whole different debate. But let's assume for a second that he is successful long-term vegan and he has no health issues right now whatsoever. So why do you think that there's these people that can go long-term like that, and why do you think there's people that just fall off the wagon in a year for health reasons?
So many different reasons. And I think it all comes down to your mind game as well, on top of many other things. Physical, like, I don't think there's any one answer. And like, he can do it because he's doing it really well for now. Will he keep doing it in 5-10 years time? Who knows, right? But the majority of people, I think, fall off because they instinctually, I don't know if I can say that right, they understand that this diet's not for them, and then they will manifest a physical problem within themselves rather than just admitting first up that it's not right.
Interesting. So the problems will just keep coming once you make that connection.
Yeah, that's how like the disease and problems happen, right? If you
Mhm.
don't just understand it, it will physically manifest in another way.
So do you think that anybody can go super long term? Because like even the 10 plus year vegans that I know, and I know over 3 of them that I can just think of right now, are now back to animal foods. And all of them manifested in some way long term issues, and they're all feeling so much better on animal foods. Do you think that people can really go 20, 30, 40 years in real life? Like, have you met any? I haven't. I know hundreds of vegans.
Did you meet what's his name? The raw guy from Cairns, Lockhart. You would have met him in
No,
your raw vegan days. You know
no,
who he
no,
is?
no. Lauren Lockhart?
No,
Or
Lauren
Lauren Lockman, I mean.
Lockman.
He's
I
a
don't know.
Retreatist.
He's like
He,
70 years old.
oh,
Raw
you're talking about the
vegan.
dude that lives in the jungle that was
Lockhart.
no, I'd never met that guy. I never met that guy.
Oh, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes. That guy looks
Dr.
sick to me
Lockhart?
though.
Yeah, he looks very skinny,
Yes. So yes, he is
malnourished.
doing it long term, but he's not meeting the credentials or the criteria, in my opinion, for a healthy person that's doing it successfully. You know what I mean?
So, right. So in that case, then that's just their mind over matter. So they're
Right.
just doing it, whether it's the best diet for them, who knows?
Yeah.
But they've managed to program their mind to get through it and say that this is the best. They've convinced themselves using science. And
Yes.
for whatever
I would agree with
reason,
you.
they were probably more predisposition or whatever to eating more of a plant food diet. If they had 5 or 10% of animal products in their diet, maybe they'll do even better. But
Mm.
they're able to do this and they go further.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like they have to they have to check so many boxes for me to say, okay, they're what I would consider successful. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's still a component of athleticism and performance, muscle mass, and I think that's an important thing. And let's maybe talk about that with you. Was there ever a part where you struggled to maintain your performance as a vegan, or was everything just always smooth flowing for you in terms of performance?
I mean, I've only got to compare against 6.5, 7 years ago. And, I was only early stages of weight training then. So I started weights training in 2010, and I'd never been in a gym before that. I
Mhm.
was for school and, through school and early 20s, I was just like outdoor sports. We played like rugby league, soccer, basketball, and athletics, whereas I never really hit the gym. So I never really had any problems to answer your question.
Right.
I feel like I can be getting gains. I'm moving pretty well, but who knows when I put animal products in, who knows how much better it will get or if it will get worse. It's all an
Are
experiment,
you
right?
for sure? Are you expecting it to
Yeah.
get better, or
I'm expecting my digestion to get a little bit better. I wouldn't say my digestion's bad, but
Mm.
I want it to be even better that it's not like, I don't want it to be stinky at the other end. And I'm not even having like a ton of, processed stuff, but like gassy. Gassy's probably a good one.
Yeah?
I don't have much fruit anymore. Yeah.
So you got the
Grains. What
bloating.
are
You
you
got the
left with?
classic bloating.
What's that?
You got the classic bloating symptoms that I talk about.
It doesn't even feel like bloating. It's just, I'll fart a lot.
Yeah.
That's like, man, that stinks. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's I call them hot carby farts. They're disgusting, and it's literally from carbohydrates, 100%,
Right. And
or fiber.
I was doing meat, full on meat when I was doing my bodybuilding comp in 2012. It's sports model, bodybuilding, whatever. And I was eating just meat, eggs. It was basically carnivore, and that stunk too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Were you doing zero plants at that time, or were you doing some plants?
No, I still had some plants. So you could say, all right, maybe it was the plants. Was it the broccoli with the meat meals? Was it the what else did I have? Broccoli and greens.
Well,
Could be that, huh?
this is the trap that guys like me and you got into going into veganism, because this is what happens. You're eating a bodybuilder type diet. And I was doing the same thing. Like I've been up to 183 pounds, which is 40 pounds heavier than I am right now. Like way
You're
heavier.
143 now. All right.
Yeah.
I
Pretty
think
light.
in pounds I'm about 163, 165.
Yep. Got about 20 pounds on me, which is
All
like
right.
8 kilos, 9 kilos. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're eating a bodybuilder diet, right? So the bodybuilder diet, guys, for those of you that don't know, it's basically carnivore plus a couple servings of rice and veggies maybe on the side. Pretty much. And then
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course,
that's right.
since you're not, unless you're cutting or unless you're trying to maintain a certain body weight, you're going to be a little flexible on it. I mean, your bodybuilders are known to eat quite dirty meals and bulk up and do this type of stuff. So we're used to that thing, right? So we're kind of used to our digestion being bad and at certain points anyway. But
Yes.
what happens is you're like, fuck, I need to get my health in check here. So you start researching veganism basically. And carnivore, of course, didn't exist 6-7 years ago. You think to yourself, okay, I'm eating a lot of meat and I'm eating some veggies. The meat has got to be the issue here. Like taking that out and going all veggies and fruit has got to be healthier than what I'm doing. So cutting it all out and then going 100% vegan makes so much sense because like I know that the vegetables are pretty low right now and I'm not feeling that great. So let's just go all veggies and just be like super duper healthy and I'm sure everything's going to be good. So like we had a choice, like all meat because we were already eating a lot of meat or all veggies. And obviously I made the choice all veggies and fruits. You did the same thing. It's like the fork in the road, And then it just takes you down this path. So people want you to show your tongue. I'm not going to tell them to do that because I'm not going to show mine. But do you have candida in your body? Any candida symptoms? White tongue? Anything like that? You got to go all the way back, buddy. It's on the back
No,
of the tongue.
back. All right, look in the fucking mirror. No, I've never been. I don't think so. I
Yeah,
had my blood test as well the other week.
yeah.
I don't know if there's any other like nothing came up in that besides lower levels of B12.
Okay. Do you
You know,
supplement B12? I'm just curious.
now I supplement. I just had like a tub of them left, so I just finished off the tub,
Mm,
and I'm gonna eat seafood. So fuck it. Like
yeah.
there's my good omegas. There's my B12. Yeah. So sorry, just to finish off the combo, we are talking about the diet and the fork in the road. Yeah, where are you going with that? Just like that's what
I just
happens.
wanted to
We go
say,
down the
like, yeah,
path
that's
and then
just what happens. You assume that going all veggies and fruits is going to be healthier than what you're doing before. And then
yeah,
little do you know, it's like, fuck, man, I could have just taken that other left instead of going right 5 years ago, and I wouldn't have had to deal with any of this crap. And I'd be like, be where I am now, but significantly more built. Probably didn't ruin my teeth in the meantime. I wouldn't have given up my freaking life to become a vegan. You know what I'm saying?
man, I think we need it though. Like you
Mm.
need that pendulum swing. I don't regret any of it. Like
I don't regret it
it
either.
led me here. No, exactly. I don't think you did. It was just more of a comment. It's great the way it's been because you can see the other side. You've been there. You understand all of what it is,
It
and then
makes
you
you
sort of
so
like
confident in what you're doing now. Like once you go back to the meat and you try that, you're like, no regular person or vegan is going to be able to tell you how you feel after that point because you know damn well how 100% plants feel, how 100% fruits feel, how this. And most
yeah,
people cannot say that. It gives you almost like an elite guru status, in my opinion, in terms of what everybody understands about nutrition and the regular rest of the world because you actually put in that work.
yeah, yeah. I'm not going to go down the guru thing, but I know what you mean. Like
Yeah.
you've tested out for a period of time. Your intention was to be with that forever. You're like,
Mm.
there's no way I'm going back to eating animal products because of X, Y, Z. We know all that. Yeah.
So where do you think this leaves the vegan movement right now? Like, how do you feel about what
Whew.
the hell is going on? Do you think that this is going to be an even further house of cards crumbling, or like what's going on right now? What do you think?
Um, and it's multiple ways, right? If we can get control of it, or if we can just keep making people more aware that it doesn't have to be so dogmatic, and
Mm.
it doesn't have to be dogmatic on the carnivore or whatnot. Like either side, it's just people need to trust within themselves more and really feel like what is right for them, health, for their mindset, for the way we live in society. We're getting crumbled and crushed by governments from all sides, from the politics. Like, if we can get on top of that and work towards the individual, which is the most suppressed, species there is,
Mm.
then I think we have a chance of, reversing things. But if we let the vegan thing continue, it's just one piece of the whole political agenda that is just, pushing us further and further away from what we came here to do, like just to live free and have fun.
what do you think about the people that are continuing to push like they're doubling down? How do you feel about them, or what do you think? What's the future for them? You know, like a Freely or
Oh,
you know, I just
well, for majority of them, I think they'll get really sick because their intention is not pure.
hmm,
Their intention is for themselves and to change society for the worst. The people, like, I've got many friends that are vegan.
hmm
Funny enough, the ones that I'm friends with and I've talked with a lot online and whatnot, they're all sweet. It's like, you do what you need to do. I'm doing this. It's cool. They've got like an intention of their own. Some of them vegetarian, so that they're going to get their dairy in, but they do it for religious reasons. I'm like, sweet. They're like, this is the way that life is. You need to do what you believe is right, and I'll do what I believe is right. So going back to your question of where do we think it's going, the people who are doing shit in life that's for a bad intention and they want to change things for the worse, something will happen to them. Like
hmm,
this lifetime, next lifetime, whatever. It's not gonna pan out for them.
hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they
we
have a
might
lot
have
of
to go through
influence.
some turmoil before then, but
It will
overall,
always
I'm
balance.
always the one for like goodwill prevail.
Absolutely, I do agree with that as well. And I mean, from my position, when I look at the people who are real, like, let's take a Freely for example. She's casting stones from her glass house, in her wooden thatch house in the jungle, and she's literally falling apart. And it's really interesting how she's so disconnected from the world that people are seeing this and openly saying this about her. Yet it's like she's making these video content, and it's like propaganda pieces, like making them with no connection to anybody, and then just throwing them out to the internet, and then just like disappearing again for another month. But like that's hurting her entire brand because people are not resonating with that right now. They're seeing her degeneration day by day, and they're not being sold anymore. Back when she was 5 years ago, Adelaide cycling with During Rider, they were selling this sexy, fun, fruit message. And then now it's just like this really ranty, angry, mean woman who just wants the ex-vegans to die, basically.
Yeah, well,
And
look at
people aren't
Gary
really
Yourofsky.
right,
He got in his head and he's gone now, isn't he? He just stopped because he couldn't handle it anymore. Who knows?
right, yeah.
That was
And
the
I
last
never
I heard
liked
of
his
it.
message.
What's that?
I never liked his message. Like even when I was first going vegan, like I just the way that he was presenting himself, I did not resonate at all with his thing. But I've seen many vegans, they're like, oh, that Gary Yourofsky speech changed me. It's like, man, how can you be changed by one guy standing in front of that's just, you're just literally a Kardashian loving trend, just swallow it whole. Oh, the
There's
video
different
got a
points in
million
the
views.
history of it, though, right? Like at the time, I think that was what 5 or 6 or 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and the scene was a lot different then as well. And he was a lot calmer, even though he's sort of putting a lot of points in. And then as the time's gone on, because they can't live within the society that we have now, it just
Mm.
degenerates their mind and gone. I'm not
Yep.
like I'm smiling at that because I'm like, fuck you, like to try and put that much hate on society, you deserve that. But then at the same time, I'm like, that's not nice feeling to me as a human because
Right.
we're all fucking human and we got to work this shit out, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, what does bother me about it is that it clearly didn't work out, but yet that person's probably on their deathbed saying it's still wrong to kill animals and
Yeah,
it's still healthiest to be
that's
vegan,
sad.
so fuck you. And you're just like, dude, give it up. Like, give it the fuck up, man. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah. Look, I'm only new into the whole, giving the ex-vegan thing and, put the message and all that stuff out there. I'm going to try my best, and it's been a struggle for me to remain humble
Mm,
because for some people, having a plant-based diet will work. The majority of people and what they're saying with the world should go vegan, I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think it'll work. It'll only
mm,
work if we get forced to do it.
mm.
The messages and the agenda keeps coming through. You got to keep changing this for the environment. We all got to come together as one planet. We got to give our powers over to one government. Now we have to produce a food supply to look after everyone. That's the way I think it'll work. And that's what I think that, the message is that what they're pushing is to go down that path. So, yeah, I don't know where we were going with that. We're just kind of ranting on Gary.
Yeah, it just, I look at the vegan figureheads right now, and it's the shitty thing about veganism is that people do get results short term. Like we're talking within 2 to 3 years. So you've got these really good spokespeople for a while, and then all of a sudden something happens, but the damage is done. That one influential person has now made 10,000 vegans, and now those people are spreading their bullshit to everybody else. So you have like this constant turnover.
Well, then we just work the other way, right? It's just
yeah.
like that's how it works. You know, the next message out. Like I put my ex-vegan thing out, and the amount of private messages I had from people who are just saying, "Oh, you know, I stopped being vegan 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, or you know, what you're saying resonates with me, and I'm going to think about it." Like the number of those is crazy as well. Like you've seen it, Bobby's seen it, Tristan's seen it, everyone's seen it, and I don't know, because it's not really something that people want to keep talking about. Like they might not even be online. So, you know, it's up to everyone just to keep talking like you're doing here, having more conversations with other people, just showing that there are other ways, and you know just giving ideas and messages. And if people want to follow that because it resonates with them, so be it. You know, that's the way to go.
It's nice. I mean, people want always that packaged one size fits all solution. It's so
because they don't want to think
alluring.
for themselves.
Yeah. And if it's like, okay, eat plants only, eat fruit only, and this will just take care of everything. You'll be the strongest. You'll be the smartest you've ever been, the best energy. You're going to be happy and healthy and just live forever.
Sure.
It's so simple, and people just want to boil it down to that. And I get that. Like, that's very alluring to even me, you know, just eat meat only.
Because you're doing it. Exactly. The carnivore thing's doing it too. I was thinking about that earlier, because, you know, I've traveled around a bit. I'm not like the most traveled person ever, but for a lot of places that I've gone to, they have fasting. Like Thailand, obviously, you know, they have a Buddhist festival, and it's vegetarian, so they fast off animal products. I lived in Greece for a bit, and they've got their religion of Greek Orthodox, and then they have a fasting period as well. And they've actually, you know, got a name for it, Nistissimo, and it's like no red meat, no animal products. There is some types of seafood in it and a bit of honey, but they have a period where it's like this, you know, religious fasting. And I don't want to get into like, you know, which religion's right, all that stuff. I know that's not the point, but if human cultures have thought about this, like we're doing now, this could just be another piece in history just to add to the pile. What are we fasting off animal products for? But we know instinctively we have to go back to them for the majority of the year. You know, right. I'm interested in that to find out what that's about. Why, you know, eat everything for a period of time for the year, and then there's a period in the year it's like, you know, a week or two it's fasting off animal products. Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, and I have a very specific thing to say about that. Somebody messaged me today on a very old juice fasting video that I have up on my channel. It's like a 3.5-year-old video, and somebody commented on it. They said, "Yeah, juice fasting, that's great. Like, I'm just starting my juice fast right now." I said, "Don't do it. It's a waste of time. Juice fasting is pointless. It's not going to help you do shit. Don't even waste your time. Watch my newer videos. Understand what the hell is going on." And she writes me back like, "You have no idea how many people have been disappointed when I told them that juice fasting is pointless." Even while I was still a vegan, I told people this, but this woman responded back to me and said, "I've done fasting of various kinds for the last 10 years. It's always had some sort of benefit for me. I'm really excited to do this. I don't need meat. Trust me. It doesn't do my body any good, blah, blah, blah." So I'm just like, I'm so disappointed at this comment. And I just say to her, the optimal human diet doesn't require a break from it, you know, because she tried to make the point also that all animals fast in nature naturally, but it's usually due to when food is scarce. But I'm like, no animals in nature choose to fast for no reason while they're consuming their optimal diet. So yeah, I understand that fasting might be necessary if you're trying to swing the pendulum the other way after consuming some sort of bad diet or something like that, or unhealthy situation. But if you are indeed consuming your optimal human diet at the right amount of it as well, then there should be no reason to fast, in my opinion. That's my perspective right now. The thing that keeps us healthy doesn't need to be abstained from at any point, in my opinion. That's, I guess, what I think about fasting. For religious reasons, I get it. I mean, it's
you're giving up something, I guess.
Well, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic, so we have Lent. And in Lent, all you
Yeah.
give up is meat on Fridays, which they all still eat fish. So that makes no sense. But the point is that they give up, red meats and stuff like that on Friday. So it's a gift of giving more so than it is about like cleansing the liver. Like they don't have a specific reason for it typically in religious reasons, as far as I know. I mean, how would we have known that 5,000 years ago? Like, if the Buddhists, or who did you say abstains from meat?
Where I was Greek Orthodox,
Okay.
and
So
then
they
obviously
just don't eat
Buddhists
red
as
meat
well. Yeah.
because they're vegetarian, yeah? But Buddhists?
Yeah, should be. I
Okay.
mean, in Thailand, there should be. You got all the Buddhists, and did you ever go to Thailand? Do the whole Thailand
No.
thing?
Nope.
Oh,
I got real close, but I ended up choosing
real
Hawaii.
close. Yeah, it's
I was
closer for you guys. Thailand's easy from here.
Right. Yeah, that's
You
your
see the
guys.
monks, they walk to the hill, like when you're in Chiang Mai, they walk to the hill in the mornings. It's like after school, from what I understood, you can go to the army or you can be a
Mm.
monk. So it's like, take your pick. So,
Ooh. Wow.
you
What
know,
a choice.
yeah, for a couple of years. And I could be completely off, but that's what I've heard from people. Anyway, they do the walk. They walk barefoot on the streets up to the mountain. And then all of the shop owners just have their food stalls waiting on the street, and they just take whatever they want. It's all for free. But there's meat
Really?
and everything in that. Yeah, for the guys doing their Buddhist thing in the mornings.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Do they get compensated for that from the government or something?
No, it's just part of the religion. It's part of the culture.
Oh, that's interesting. That's super
Yeah,
cool,
you're doing a
actually.
service for the country. Like they really get connected with each other there.
That's really cool. I like that. I don't partake in any religious stuff myself, but
Mm.
it's something that I think is great for other people if they want to go into that, and like I don't have any issue with it. At all, actually. I have a way more of an issue with people going vegan than I do somebody wanting to be Buddhist or something like that. You know what I mean? Sorry,
Yeah.
CMC is blowing up the chat. People are responding to him. He says that to pay homage and show our gratitude, we must abstain from eating so we can learn to appreciate the food more. Yeah, that's wise, I think.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Because I think people often forget about it, so it's probably like a good idea as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was just
So,
saying, let's think about it all the time, but life is, that's what it is.
so how do you anticipate this to go for you when you do eventually come out? Do you obviously you created a huge vegan fan base audience on your YouTube channel and across your social medias. I would imagine that probably 80 to 90% of your audience is vegan. Came to you probably for vegan reasons, other than I know that you do a lot of like financial stuff as well, financial tutoring and things like that. So
Yeah.
how do you think it's going to go for your business? Like, financially.
Oh, well, I mean, everything I do online is a hobby. I don't make my money from online. So how do I think it's going to go? Like, I feel like putting this post out kind of showed which way it would go. And I think, we got over the hump of the hype, and now it's just going through its motions, and I can get back to the game of putting out the content that I want to put out.
Yeah.
I like the travel part, and I like to share it with people. I don't really know any other reason why. When I'm overseas and traveling, I don't mind like taking a video and having fun with it. I meet a lot of cool people from social media. So when I'm putting that out, it's like a resume, and they're like, oh, that's who you are. Okay, cool. And I see who they are. And, hopefully if Bobby's still here, I can catch up with him in Macedonia or France or wherever he is.
Yep.
I've talked to Tim Sheaf briefly, so hopefully I can catch up with him. He likes to go for hikes, and I really want to be like active and just, maybe a bit of bro time and hang out and do some stuff. Otherwise, I'll just be hanging around the Mediterranean. So I don't know, to answer your question, where do I think it's going to go? I think it's going where it needs to go right now.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not phased with it. It'll do what it needs to do. And this was one of the last cleanses. I'm hoping it was one of the last cleanses.
Just like a social
Yeah.
media, like a
Yeah.
audience cleanse, basically. Like if you're gonna hate on me, now's the time to get the fuck out of here type of a message. Is that
Exactly. And I was expecting there to be a lot of uproar. I didn't think it'd be that crazy. People shared my Facebook post in other like vegan groups, and that's what brought out the crazies, because the people who hang out in those groups are fucking nuts. They just have all day to spend in Facebook groups. So yeah, I wanted to do that to bring it out, because I didn't want to have like comments flowing through for the next 2, 3, 4 years saying, are you still vegan? Are you still vegan? Like that's not what I want my message to be about. I do love food. I love health. I love travel, all that good stuff. But I don't know, like I got other things I want to talk about.
Yeah. Like you're
Primarily
not
was,
just
the mindset. Huh? Go on.
like veganism, it doesn't define you as an entire being, basically. Like
No.
you moving on in terms of like showing the world who you are.
Yes. And I felt like I was moving on in 2015, 16, when I started making different videos. Like I had my travel stuff. I was with my ex through Thailand. Then we went on to Vietnam and then to Israel. And, I was just making other ideas in those videos. And from that point, I'm like, well, vegan's one thing, but there's so much more to life,
How does your close personal real life friends and family think about your recent like announcement and decision? Are they happy for you or?
It's crazy because it's only people online that care. In real life, they're like, okay, great. So what do you want for dinner?
Yeah. But I mean,
fuck.
well, for me, like my Cuban family was like, they immediately, I mean, they were like very nice about it. But when I started to consume animal products again, like they were basically saying to me, you look so much healthier and so much better now. Of course, this is coming from people who are maybe not healthy themselves, but to them, like everything changed. My complexion changed. Everything got better, like they were so happy and we could all share food again, which I guess is a very important thing for people to begin with. So.
Yeah, the sharing food thing is important. And I remember the thing from the vegan, the dogma and the mindset they try and put you in is like, we can create new ways of life. And it's like, I don't know, these ways of life have taken thousands of years to create.
Yeah.
Let's try and create new ways, but I don't think it's about like cutting it here, brushing that off the table and starting again. Like things have to evolve.
It's an arrogance to me. I just keeps coming back to that word, the vegan arrogance, man. Like they always want to think that they can do it different, better, faster, stronger, completely reinvent the wheel. No. To think that is very arrogant. And as I get older in life, I realize that a lot of times the obvious, simple, blatant answer is really the right answer,
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. What's that?
Life is meant to be easy. I was told this years and years and years ago. And we all work towards it being hard. And I'm sure there's like that, that Will Smith video where it's like, make shit easy or something. Anyway, like it's said by many well-known people. And it's like, it should be easy, but we all work for the pain and stuff, It's like, there was no pain in it. It wasn't worth the gain. And you're like,
and we find the pain if we don't have it. If it's too easy, we like look at rich kids that just grow up with no responsibilities. Like they find the pain. It's drugs or whatever they got to get into to hurt themselves, basically.
It's a difficult one too because like it sounds simple in theory, like just do it that it's easy. It's like I think easy is more like the fun. Like say I started teaching myself to surf. I'm sure most people understand this, but I'll talk about it anyway. I'm teaching myself to surf, and it's difficult. It's not painful, but it's a challenge because I never even skateboarded in my life. And now I'm trying to jump up on waves and stuff like that. But it's easy because it's fun, So as I learn, it comes easier. Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense. I think you know the point.
Well, I think we're maybe semantically just semantics here, but like your motivation is high because it's fun and enjoyable to you, and it's something that you want to continue doing because it's provides a challenge, which can be frustrating at times, I'm sure. And probably as you get better, you're actually going to become more frustrated because you have a higher expectation of yourself. And oftentimes that's what makes it continue to be interesting long term. And like the first day you go surfing, it's like you catch one wave, you're like, holy, I am amazing. Like this is great. And then, 2 years later, you're used to doing that. So the bar keeps getting set higher, and then that's what keeps it interesting. Your expectation gets higher too.
Going with the flow. And I think that's what people don't do is they want to push shit up a hill. Like, how's the painful way to do this? So let's like be, no, we get it. I'm enjoying that we're turning this a bit more positive. We've been bagging on the whole scene left, right, and center. We get it.
Where would you like to?
Do people still enjoy this? Do people still enjoy listening and hearing about the whole like I don't know how negative veganism is?
Yes, they do. Because there's new people coming in every day, but I mean, I have a core audience that does stick around and they are willing to sit through this and hear it multiple times. However, I have a goal on my channel, and every interview that I go into is I want to bring something new to the table and advance the conversation every time. I do not want to talk about the same stuff. Like, my channel isn't to be like hammer home the same thing, have the same set of questions, ask people every single time, and then I wouldn't care. I would be so bored, and I would provide no service to the world if that was all I did. I would not enjoy that. So, like with you, and I was just
a vegan gains channel,
right? Where he's just like, he has the same 4 studies, and it's like, debunk these studies. Guess what? You can't, because I've figured out a way to make it airtight. And it's like, okay, cool. It doesn't even. This is an ongoing conversation because we're people, and the world is changing, and people are changing, and our knowledge base is changing. Let's continue advancing the conversation. That's why, like, lives too, is because this is a conversation. It's a flowing statement. Things that I said on my channel 3 years ago or whatever are not how I feel today, right now. And if somebody were to ask me the question in the chat right now, I would probably have a different answer for them, and I'm totally cool with that. So I was going to actually pivot with you right there.
Sweet. Yeah, I do enjoy the lives, and I'm so glad that I got to jump on live with you and with Kate, and hopefully Tristan next week. It's an enjoyable way to have a conversation, and people can jump in and ask questions, and it's all happening at the same time. You can get a feel for what people are thinking and wanting to know answers on, and
Exactly. And you also get a much more realistic perspective on somebody's personality. Like Durian Ryder, for instance, all the allegations, Durian Ryder, the rapist, he's a narcissist, blah, blah, blah. And then he shows up on stream, and I got people hitting me up every day. Durian Ryder is actually really likable. It's like, yeah, because, I know that this isn't exactly real life, guys, but it's closer to it, like much closer to it. You're going to get a much more solid representation. People aren't that good at acting and lying. Surprise, surprise. But on video with edits, you can be real deceptive and not yourself. You can create a character, But in live, it's like people are different.
Yeah.
And I'd rather...
he's not as much as an asshole when he has to talk to other people.
Yeah. Like there's somebody
the
on
same
the
with
other
Freely.
end.
She's not going to be like that when she's talking to other people. That's why she doesn't talk to other people.
Exactly.
She can't let that. She doesn't want to let that part out.
Yeah. And that's her character.
Then you have to connect with humans. Yeah.
And people have even said that about Freely. To be fair, they said, hey, when you are with Freely in real life, she's so compassionate, so caring, so giving. And it's like, you would imagine that everywhere she went, if she saw somebody scooping a piece of chicken in their mouth, she'd slap the fork out of their mouth, but she's not doing that, That's not really what's going on out there. And I don't know. I like to break that illusion, man. I want to bring people together. I really do. I like to help people. I want to help the poor vegans that are struggling with their thing. And I want to also just bring, I'd rather see people doing better, and like I say this all the time with the animal foods, is it's brought me closer to other humans than I was as a vegan. As a vegan, I wanted to just like detach,
Yes. That's part of the agenda, I think. I'm one for this whole one world agenda, vegan, and you can really see it fire people's emotions. And if it gets them to a detach, easier to control. Who do you trust? Do you trust someone central? Yeah. So anyway, we were pivoting. Where are you going to go with this? I was actually thinking about your channel as well. Ah, damn it. Here we go. You back?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Out.
There we go.
Yeah, I was thinking, if you keep the carnival thing going, sure, you'll get an audience on, but then at some point it's going to be like, all right, what next? So what are you thinking of next? Or
for me,
just the evolution?
Well, back when I was vegan, I was trying to think of a channel name. And my channel name has always been this channel, DrewMorg. I like the idea of keeping my actual name because I didn't want to be associated with veganism at the time, even though that's what I wanted to make content on.
That's why I named my channel my name as well.
See, so it's like
high carb health.
High carb health. I saw that in your.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm down with carnivore, and I'm happy to be carnivore for the rest of my life, and whatever. That's fine. But I want it to be somewhat ambiguous. Like, I'd rather be a name brand that people can tap into to hear a point of view that's trying to take all the dots and put them together and seeks truth and puts it together and cuts through the bullshit. You got to have discernment in this game.
Joe Rogan style.
Yeah, because he doesn't, you can't really pin Joe Rogan on anything. Sure, he leans one way or the other, but he's never like I see clips pop up in my channel, in my recommended videos all the time, the unhealthiness of an all meat diet. And it's a link to Joe Rogan's channel. So he has guests on that, are opposites of each other all the time. And then he just kind of picks their brain. And I like that format.
Yeah, me too. I love that.
But I do like the health stuff.
What's that? You want the health stuff more so?
Well, I'm just saying like that's the niche content I want to bring to the table, is like the cutting edge. Where are we at with health? And for people who really want to get like optimal peak condition. And sure, I'm known for drinking Red Bulls and eating Kit Kats, but that's my choice. I know those things aren't optimal, but there's people out there that think that 30 bananas a day is still optimal, and they're telling other people it's optimal. Let's all agree and start agreeing on what's really legit and what's not, and what we do for fun because we want to do that. And that's your right as a human, like as in eating a Kit Kat bar or some sort of chocolate cake. We know that's not healthy, but don't be telling yourself that it's healthy and telling other people that it's healthy. That's my problem with veganism that I'm wrestling with. So
in that case, we were just talking about that there isn't really like a one way to do health.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we throw in as close to nature as possible, I think that's probably one thing we can all agree on. We're not going to specify if it's plants or animals, but as close to nature as possible. And the one thing that the vegan is going down is, factory made stuff, lab stuff.
Yes, but to
get more people on board.
Right. Yes, but their marketing and vegans are great marketers. They are excellent marketers.
They emotional.
Know. Yes, exactly, and that's what sells things, is to tap into people's emotion. So they do actually market their product, veganism, to people who believe in nature. That's the part that is something that they already knew early on. We evolved from monkeys, right? What do monkeys eat? They're herbivores. They're frugivores. And then people are like, that makes sense. Oh, and then they don't tell the other part of it that, monkeys all have fermentation chambers. What's a fermentation? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about a fermentation chamber. Not important. Trust me, a monkey.
Really? Like a cow or a ruminant?
Yes, sir. To me, this was the smoking gun of the anti-vegan argument, is because every single monkey is what's called a hindgut fermenter. They have a chamber. Basically, their colon is a huge fermentation chamber. Cows and other ruminants have a frontal loading fermentation chamber and multiple stomachs to do this, which I believe a gorilla has the same as well. But the things that they eat are so much different than what a human could even potentially eat. We say eat a lot of fruits and this and that, but even the bonobo monkeys have hindgut fermentation chambers, different stomach level pHs, different thickness of their intestines. But the vegans, they pick and choose which parts of those things that they want to equate and say these are equal. Well, the length is the same, but the thickness is not the same. So
the teeth thing, and it's pretty much like with a lot of the information, and it'll at some point it'll come into the carnivore space. At some point it'll come into the next diet space. Like, just pick and choose every little piece to prove your point, and that's why I just keep going back to the individual. Like, trust in yourself and figure out what your body's trying to tell you. All that intuitive shit, inner voice, all that stuff. It has to be practiced, and you can't practice it when you're listening to someone else.
Well, that's part of the vegan argument, is don't listen to yourself, because if you listen to yourself, you'd be doing the same things you always did. You'd be eating those chocolate cakes and the cookies, wouldn't you? Oh yeah, you're right. I need a better plan than this because I can't trust myself. Okay, well, eat these plants because that makes sense for this and this reason. Doug Graham with the 80-10-10 book, he's the one, and it's like, he's the god Doug Graham, and then you look at Doug Graham and you're like, but that guy doesn't look that healthy, and they're like, oh, no. The blood tests show that they're healthy, trust me. We've gotten we've gone a long way. We've learned a lot in the last 5 years, especially seeing all these vegans the last year or so really falling off the bandwagon
Yeah.
and sharing their experience. And now it's like, it's very difficult. If you go vegan today without considering the experiences of all these ex-vegans, I would have to question your intelligence. If you went vegan 5 years ago, I'd say you were smart because everything was pointing towards veganism being like this pinnacle health movement.
But that just then says, if they want to go vegan, someone wants to go vegan. The one thing I always just want to add to that is I don't want to say don't do it. I just want to say why are you doing it? And if you continue to do it, do your absolute best to keep an open mind and not get sucked in by the dogma that tells you can never eat another animal product again.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. So just say that.
Lock
that away.
Yeah. Yeah. Just keep it open. Do the vegan thing. That's sweet. But just because you have to experience it, you have to experiment. If it works for you for life, whatever. But you need to be open to change.
People are saying I'm jealous of Mark Tassie's looks. Absolutely, guys. Mark Tassie, we're good old buddies. I haven't seen him in my channel today. That's interesting.
How's the chat going?
The chat is popping off right now. It's literally going crazy. LC says, "Oh wow, that would be such an interesting interview. Send Drew an email in case he doesn't see this part of the chat." Who are you talking about? Make sure if you guys do want to message me, make sure that you at my name at DrewMorg so that I see the little orange tag on it. Otherwise, it's very hard for me to see what's going on over there. So, anyways, regarding the pivoting,
yes,
the pivoting was going to be on you. Where you want to take this chat? If you want to bring anything up for me or the audience or whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, I think when we were just chatting offline, on Instagram or something to organize this, like my stuff is directed towards freedom from the grind. Try to get yourself in a mindset that you can leave the rat race if you want to. If you love your job and you want to stay there, great. But that's where I'm directed towards, so that you can become more of a self independent person, right? So that's kind of like where I wanted to pivot it. But you also mentioned yourself that was something that you were looking at and you'd been looking at it for years,
right?
Trying to do it. Because that's sort of where vegans go as well. They need to get away from society to then live in a tropical place to just eat fruit. So a lot of them move towards trying to be independent from society. So I want to stay within society. We're all humans. That's the way we work. But
same.
Just live it on your terms. Live life on your terms. And that's, I get all, spend the time however I want to. I go to the gym in the morning and surf and basically just podcast, do whatever the hell I want all day. So I'm happy to pivot towards that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? I guess asking you the question: do you feel like you're stuck anywhere within that? Do you, how long you've been trying for? What are you up to? Like, just rundown of where you feel like you're at. You got a job still?
So to give a little history on my situation, basically, I got laid off January of 2016. So solid 3 years ago. I got laid off with, about 35 to 40K in the bank, right? US, obviously. So I had saved quite a bit. I was already vegan for like 2 full years. I was already like sort of ready, 1 foot out the door to like go live the vegan lifestyle. You know what I mean? So I almost saw this layoff as like a blessing, right? Like I was pumped. And then I was already at that time at the starting stages of building my vegan dating app, which I knew I wanted to build. So I was always had this entrepreneurial spirit, and I've tried several times before leaving jobs with just not quite enough money. Like sometimes I'd leave the job with like $10,000, then like $20,000. And then this time I got laid off. It was like the perfect storm, I got laid off. I had this great idea, the dating app. I had a decent chunk of money in my bank account. Of course, I was paying for my rent and everything at the time. So it was like, I knew that money was going to dwindle at some point. Now, I decided to go to Hawaii and live a very, very modest type lifestyle, saving on all fronts, super cheap car, super cheap rent, eating local food and stuff like that, always doing things wisely with my money for like the next couple of years. And then I dropped, quite a bit of money into my dating app. Hoped that would take off, along with meeting and networking with other vegan entrepreneurs like Raw Alignment and Megan Elizabeth, and living around these people and utilizing them as leverage to sort of like help grow the word on the app, you know? So I kind of assumed that I was going to like take a big dip in money. I didn't want to invest traditionally stocks or anything like that. I have played around with Forex quite a bit, actually. MetaTrader 4 and all that stuff. And then I saw my money sort of obviously go down, 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 down. I did a little bit of Ubering to like keep the funds up. And then from that point, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to live in Hawaii anymore. I'll keep the vegan dating app going, even though I wasn't even vegan anymore. And just recently I shut that down, like actually within the last week. But
did it get any funds come through?
Actually, I mean, I have 11,000 members on it. And
Wow.
it was self-sustaining as far as like a monthly income level. So I mean,
Fuck
that
yeah,
thing was
that's great.
actually making some money. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting. And I trust me, I would have loved to make like a full-blown living from it. However, that wasn't panning out. So that's where it kind of leaves me now, is like at the end of my nest egg, you know, making podcasts and doing YouTube stuff and having fun doing this and making a little bit of money from this. But definitely like doing other things in the meantime to support myself. But I always have the dream to live. What I call it is making money off grid, not living off grid, making money off grid. So
Location independent is the
location independent.
the term.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Making money off grid. That's good too.
Yep. So for me, that's always been the goal, is to create some sort of business, create some sort of product, market it, sell it. I have a marketing degree. You know,
Is that what you were doing before you got laid off? Something in marketing, 2016?
Yeah, man. I actually was working for this like full-blown like standard regular company. We were selling industrial hydraulic products as a distributor. I got a bunch of training through them. I did outside sales, had my own territory in Orange County. I gave up that position. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just too sensitive, I guess, about it. And I wanted to leave that job. They said, hell no, you got too much training. We've invested too much money into you. But we know that you are good with online stuff. So we want to put you in charge of the website. So the website is what we eventually, I settled on a position where I was working for them from home, which was awesome. And I uploaded like thousands and thousands and thousands of products for them throughout the next couple of years. And then finally the project basically finished, and then I was laid off. So that's how it went.
Gotcha.
So that's how I got the money.
Well, at least you were able to, you were able to save through that time.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you're doing everything that you have to do, and you just had you had the idea, you went with it. Like, you're on the track anyway. Like, it sounds sweet, because most people will come to it and they go, like, how can I live your lifestyle is usually the question that I'll get, apart from anything vegan or health related. Like, how do I live your lifestyle? And you know, no harsh comments to them, but they don't have like a budgeting plan. They don't have any savings. They haven't thought about minimizing their lifestyle, because when you don't have to go to a job, like, your costs can be reduced a hell of a lot. So you don't need as much. And they haven't like started getting on their way to finding another direction for their life. Like, all of those things combined is just kind of like,
I want to make a point about this. Sorry. This concept of minimalism that's really come up online in the past few years. I want people to, this is my opinion on this, is that minimalism as an end game is not the way to go. Like, no. Minimizing for the short term so that you can do something bigger in the long term, different story, right? That's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
But when we're talking
100%.
about,
and it's just more like reducing your life to the shit you don't need.
Yeah.
To focus on something now. I think exactly what you said, and then you grow from that.
Yes, because there's people that want to live as a minimalist, as like a some sort of lifestyle where like you live in a van, you spend no money, you have zero waste. But what ends up happening to these people is they focus all their time on minimizing, and they don't focus any of their time on income and growth and making. So then you end up needing so little that you have no desire or motivation to actually go earn. And now you're screwed, because at some point you're going to have to earn. At some point you're going to have to get in the trench. You're going to have to compete with people, and you're going to have to earn.
Then you go two different directions from that. It's like, you'll pivot and you'll figure that out, or you get into that sort of sick headspace where it's like, money's bad, capitalism's bad, people are bad, we all have bad hearts, and we shouldn't even need money to live.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Fruitopia.
Fruitopia.
That's the land that those people live in, where especially the vegan ones.
Did that actually come about?
Not anywhere that I know of. So let me tell you a little bit about Fruitopia.
I remember one of them were trying to buy an island or something like that. I heard this over and over again. I'm like, anyway, go on. Tell me about it. I want to hear.
In the big island of Hawaii, there's this magical place called Puna. It's in the south of the island. And it's where all the volcanic activity happened, by the way, last year. And this is where the freaks and the weirdos go that just want to do acid and hit mushrooms and just disappear. All right. So these guys, there's actually communes that are on Puna, many of them actually, that take people in for free. You can live there for free. You can basically eat for free, kind of. But you got to kind of like work on the land. You kind of all share everything, including each other's women and personal space a lot of times. Oh. It gets into this weird, sick, like cesspool of people that have that mindset where it's like, we can just live as wild animals on this land and not have any connection to the outside world. But really, the people that I know that have actually lived there and gotten out of it, they're like, fuck that. Like, I'm not going back to that. Like, that was not working, you know? And this is in Hawaii, where it's a place where you can actually grow that amount of food and support people. It still doesn't work.
It just sounds like a huge cult. Like,
yes,
what every cult turns into. It's like, this is the dream, then it turns into this, and then it just disintegrates from that, you know?
Raw Alignment says, what is the sick headspace? Or she says, that is a sick headspace, Jason. What is the sick headspace?
Which part are we talking about? Sick headspace?
She said that a few minutes ago, so I'm wondering what she was in reference to. Yes, and CMC, yes, it's pure degeneracy. And when you see these people, you know right away, you're like, whoa, word. You're homeless, buddy. Degenerate. What'd you say?
Yeah, I said Charles loves that word, degenerates.
Have you ever seen Charles go on a rant about like just... she was getting anally fucked and the herpes in her mouth, and dude, yeah, I love when he just goes off. It's so funny. Like, stuff that I can't even say publicly, you know.
Yeah, just reminds me of some, like, you know, a friend at school that would just be able to tell stories and you just laugh at them, even though you know they're not true. You're just like, it's fucking crazy.
He said that's what Harley's running at that apartment complex in Chiang Mai. He's running a degenerate fruit cult that just all you got to do is put out. You got a free rent, but you just got to put out.
Yeah. And Eisel keeps trying to get his hand into it, but no one wants a piece of it.
My God, let's get more into that in a second. We got to get a little dirt out of you, Jason. You're too clean cut. Raw Alignment says the poor money mindset. Jason said that's one route minimalists sometimes go. Poor money mindset.
We were just saying.
Yeah, I think she's just agreeing with what we're saying.
She was agreeing. Is that what you said?
I think so. Yeah, just basically saying that if you go down if you start saving too much, you basically just become poor. You don't value money. You think that money is not needed for anything, or it shouldn't be needed, and then guess what? You still need money, so it doesn't matter. You know, your taxes are going to come.
You need some medium of exchange. You need to exchange with people and bartering and, you know, all this sort of crap. Like, we've progressed beyond that. I'm not going to barter, you know, something that I've grown for something else that you've, you know, some service you got. It can happen, but it doesn't scale.
Right. Yes, it doesn't scale. But there's people out there that, again, these things they're attractive to some people, especially when you're like kind of down and out. Maybe you got fired from your job, or, you know, people are like, there's another way. You don't need money. You have money troubles. You don't need it. And they're like, oh, okay. Like it's out of desperation, people get into these things, and then they end up hopefully snapping out of it at some point. But a lot of times they're devastated by the time that they're out of it. They're even more debt. They're not worrying about their credit score anymore because they're like, fuck it, I don't need a credit card, you know, or all this stuff. I've seen people do very crazy things. There's a lot of people in Hawaii that don't even file their taxes every year because they just don't believe that it matters or whatever, you know. And then you hear about them getting arrested in the middle of the night by the local police department because, you know, they don't follow court orders.
Court orders. Okay. Like, I don't know. Like, this is probably stuff that is a bit difficult to talk about online because we're not worried about fucking vegans or other humans coming after us in that case. It's more like the tax office. And Australia, as far as I know, isn't as extreme or crazy as what I hear about the US, and I don't know anything more than hearsay. But
it's legit. The US is fucking
that?
scary, man. You fuck with the police here or the government here, you're it's not fun. The rumors are true for the most part. They don't shoot as many people as they say, but they are scary.
Right. I'm more looking at the tax side. Some people may have seen, and he's got all different views of people. People have talked a lot of shit about this guy, but Jeff Berwick. Have you heard of him at all?
No.
Dollar Vigilante? No.
Dollar Vigilante. No, I haven't heard of him.
No.
Should
So
I
this
bring
is
up
all
any
from
of
like
his...
Yeah, check him out. He's interesting. He's gone down the vegan path and then didn't, but he didn't start from that. His whole thing started from the .com boom, understanding the money cycle, the money, where the money flows, all this sort of shit. And just now is like completely anti-government and more of an anarchist. So he's basically anarchist and whatnot. And it's in the crypto space. Where did I go? There I am.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
I
was really just talking about the taxes in that case.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know what your views are, and most people believe they have to pay taxes, but I do not see taxes as it's against our human rights to be then used as labor and then taxes taken from us to be used as however the government pleases,
Again, it's one of those things that started out as a good idea. People were like, yeah, that makes sense to give you like a few cents on the dollar to like build roads and public safety. And then you start finding out that there's like, certain politicians making several $100,000 a year on the taxpayer money. And, this money in your local community is not being spent very wisely. And then you hear about California politicians selling guns and stuff to the Taliban, which is a real story, by the way. So there's a lot of weird shit that goes on in the government.
Even so, the money that's taken from you shouldn't be taken from you, especially in the way that it's done. That is the real...
It doesn't feel good every year, trust me.
What's that?
It doesn't feel good every year, but I do think that somebody has to pay something along the lines. I do think that it's somewhat justified, but I think that it might be too much. And I also don't like the fact that the richer pay more. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it should just be like a flat rate, basically.
Yeah, the point that it's forced.
Well,
and
yeah,
if you don't...
It wouldn't be paid if it wasn't forced.
Yeah. I'll take these off.
Those always die every interview, by the way.
What's that?
The AirPods always die every interview that I do, by the way. So.
What are we got? An hour and a half? Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Yep. So, what should we cover here? Should we take it to the audience or what? What do you guys think? What questions do you have for Jason, or wild statements do you want to make?
Otherwise, we'll be going down the taxation path. Taxation is fair.
I can't go there. It's too late. I can see it getting dark outside. It's too late for taxes. I paid my taxes, last month. I'm good. I can't even think about them for another year.
Dude, you can just move to Puerto Rico, right? Why don't you move to Puerto Rico?
Because Hawaii would be better.
No, there's less taxes in Puerto Rico. It's like 2% tax.
Yeah, but it's also Puerto Rico. It's barely America, and it's very dangerous there in most areas.
Talk to some people, man. Go look at the crypto space. Go look at that. And definitely in some areas, I say, but there's also like an area where there's a lot of business. You're pretty safe there because people go there to minimize taxes. And if you're location independent and money off the grid money, whatever you called it.
They're probably, wait, hold on. It's probably less taxes. You're probably saying you live there. You're not actually living there, though. You got your bank account in Puerto Rico.
Whatever
predictions.
You need to do to work the system, because most people are working the system that are making money.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that.
If you sit with the system, you're a sucker.
Yeah,
that's for the masses. Fuck that.
Agree. Somebody says, "How's it getting dark in SoCal?" Dude, It must be really cloudy outside. I don't understand how it's dark right now, but it's really dark right now. I think it's gonna rain, man. This is very strange. But somebody said, what are your ex-vegan predictions?
Oh, like who's next?
Yeah, who's next?
Fuck. Give me some names, because I don't like.
All right, let's go down the list of bodybuilders. So we got the big four, the Avengers. We got John Venus, Derek Simnett, Brian Turner, and Nimai Delgado. Which one out of those four do you think will go ex-vegan first?
I don't know who the Delgado person is.
He's the juiced up PETA guy. He's like legit IFBB bodybuilder, like full juice, basically. People say that he says that he's not on juice, but that's the only one that I'm saying is definitely on steroids.
Right. Fuck. I don't know. From what Brian said, it doesn't look like he will, but you never know. John, is John 100% anymore? Because I know he lives with his family that's all hunting and stuff.
Well, he still claims to be 100%.
Yeah.
So I think John
maybe at some point, not in a bad way, only because he'll see the light.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean that in a rude way. It's just when you're around that and you start to feel the environment, like he's in a unique, beautiful situation that he can get all of his food locally, high quality.
And he has a kid, which I think that people tend not to want to gamble with their kid's life or health when it comes to veganism / eating animal foods.
Yeah, that was another thing that sort of played with me as well. We'll eventually have kids soon, Beth and I, and looking at more things, especially the omegas, the fats. Something wasn't sitting well with me there in terms of the pure vegan diet, because it doesn't come from all those seeds. It's there, but it's not quality. So yeah. Anyway, out of those four, if we start with that, if you had to pick one, you'd probably say John. Like everyone would probably say John, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think Derek is also there too.
Derek, yeah.
I think so. I think when I'm looking at him lately, I think that he's lost a step in terms of his overall look, and his face for some reason to me is looking a bit. It's just starting to exhibit some of the symptoms of long-term veganism, in my opinion. I'm not gonna go
People
much
always
deeper
say that
into
about my face, and I'm like, they always say about my eyes, and I'm like,
yeah,
fuck, man,
I've always had these lines too.
What's that? Just like the little sags. I'm like, yeah, man, it comes down to sleep.
I have these black lines here. I've had them forever. They didn't change as a vegan. They didn't change. I think it's allergies more so than anything else. But
you shouldn't have allergies. You're a carnivore.
I know. I'm still searching, guys. I'm still searching for the silver bullet that takes care of it all.
If you just ate durian, you would be right. 100% durian diet.
Dude, durian is so good. I do love durian. I will absolutely eat durian again in my lifetime.
You're a feral. You're a raw vegan at heart.
Yes, I am. All right, so let's go to the gurus then. Let's say between Mick the Vegan, Goji Man, Vegan Foot Soldier.
Who's that?
Who else? Vegan Gains. You don't know Vegan Foot Soldier?
Vegan Foot Soldier.
He's a little wacky dude that's out there on the internet. He's got a little audience, and he's been bulking up and trying to get bigger.
It's hard with these guys, the sciencey ones, because they convince themselves, like they detach from their heart, they detach from their being, and they give it all over.
They think they've gotten closer to their heart, though. That's the fucked up part.
What's that?
They think they've gotten closer to their heart by tapping into their compassion and not eating animals. They think that that's gotten them closer to their heart.
Yeah, they're blindsided by that. They're the main ones that I you don't want to say I dislike humans, but I just can't stand the personalities of them.
Right.
Because there isn't that part of like philosophy and discussion, how we can all, mix science and art and all this stuff. It's just this way or no way.
That's why I kind of take it the health route. Like, that's why I do what I do and just go straight to the health and just stab that point in, because like they can't take that away from me. And something else that I always say, one of my many taglines is, you can't debunk my experience. And that's what I say about like my health turning around after being vegan and then coming back to carnivore. But
it's anecdotal. It's one anecdotal experience.
Absolutely. But the nice thing is for you, when you do decide to start eating animal foods again, you're experiencing some digestive issues. That is the one thing that I will say is almost 100% guarantee that you're going to experience a benefit from. So you're in for a treat. Trust me.
I'll go with that. Yeah, definitely.
Brighton Fuller, welcome back to the chat as usual. I love Brighton. She's the best.
Who else we got? What questions we got?
So I'd say we can go to the high-end gurus now. Life Regenerator, John Rose, John Kohler. Who else is a spiritual freak?
Spiritual gurus.
Who else fits the list, guys? We need a fourth one. John Rose. What's that?
I thought all of them had at least gone back to animal products at some point through their spiritual thing.
I've heard
some dairy.
I've heard that John Rose has consumed some eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, we can put Ted Carr in there as the fourth. What do you think?
No, you can't elevate him to that status yet.
Ted, you have not elevated. You are Ted. Ted, listen. Ted, your titties though, I gotta say, they're looking good. They're looking juicy.
He's getting some muscle on.
Ted, let me ask you. I heard that you had been having some. He's the one who said Ted Carr should be elevated. Ted, tell us about the eggs that you've eaten in the past couple years. I've heard that you've had a couple eggs here and there. Let's talk about it.
Ted Carr, the fruitarian.
Ted Carr, the fruitarian. Yes.
Yeah, he was messaging me the other day. I don't think he wrote back. He's saying, come to the gym and bulk up with me. I said, of course you're going to look like you bulked when you've looked like a twig for the last 10 years.
Ooh. I got to say this. Ted's got good chest genetics. He's very strong in the chest region. He's naturally has those larger pectoral muscles. And I got to say, Ted, that your gains, I'm impressed by your strength. However, you always gain so much goddamn fat to make any strength gains. Plus, I don't believe you're doing it all on fruit, by the way. I'm calling you out. I think that you're eating some sort of fucking protein powder or something off the menu. So get out with it, Ted.
When I first started vegan, there was that dude, Mike on Raw or something like that, who was always at the gym. And then he started having, I don't know if he did or there was another guy that was having like raw vegan protein powders as well.
Yes. There are raw vegan protein powders, believe it or not, but it's like
spirulinas and all this stuff.
Dude, spirulina is disgusting. Like, Ted just puts a lot of ha-ha's. You guys, see, I called Ted out right there. He knows it for a fact. You guys think that Ted Carr is this little fruitarian, internet, nice guy, spiritually elevated? Fuck no. I know all about Ted Carr. He's a goddamn liar. Ted's a scumbag, all right, guys? Behind the scenes. I can't say any more because I've been there too, all right? But listen, Ted Carr, you guys don't even want to know about Ted Carr.
Tell us. We need to know now.
Ted Carr.
So the gurus.
Yes.
I thought John Kohler, or whatever his name is.
Kohler, John Rose, Life Regenerator.
All right, so I don't know Rose. Kohler, I thought he did have some sort of small animal products. Life Generator, I thought he did. I could be completely wrong, but they just sort of take me as the people that would be like, oh, like the eggs are calling, I'll eat some eggs just for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever.
So I guess... So, yeah, that seems to be...
Right? So Bobby, I think Bobby said it, or Tristan or someone, maybe you've even started parroting it as well, is that all these people that are long-term vegan, there's some animal products in their diet at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of people do at some point.
Yeah,
accidental, I don't know if accidental's enough, right? Like you're eating overseas in Thailand and they put fish sauce in it and they don't even know that they put fish sauce in it because they consider that vegetarian.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough to keep you from depleting. But I'm more along the thought process of that they do integrate some animal foods here and there. Now, maybe not these mainstream vegan YouTubers because they are more on top of it and more aware. But the people that are like, your average vegan that's like a regular vegan that doesn't have any social media, like, these people are consuming some animal foods here and there, and they're not. They're still saying, "Oh yeah, I'm 100% vegan." They're not even like thinking about that egg sandwich they had.
I don't have to say anything. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I see that a lot more.
So I guess we'll say we're pretty sure those guys
That's
have
why
just had some animal foods.
That's why I put my video, because I've done 6.5 years pure,
Same,
nothing
yeah.
intentional in there at all. And now I'm thinking, I think I wouldn't mind having something in there. And I want to let people know before I have it. I don't want to get another 6 months, have an egg or some fish or something, and like, oh, look, the last 6 months I've had little bits and pieces and still go on with this vegan thing. Like, no, when it happens, it happens. But now is the intention and the thought is break.
I'm with you on that one. That seems like the smartest thing for me. LA Methwich, you're 35, post-wall thought. What does LA Methwich look like, CMC? I know you know this person. I'm curious.
I don't know. I've just noticed you got a few trolls. Like they hang around at all of the carnivore chats.
No, she's friendly. She's not anti. She says some funny, nice things. So Ted Carr wants to be on the show. Ted, I didn't know you were lurking for this whole time. Why didn't you speak up, man? I didn't know that you were enjoying the content this whole time.
See, he's a little sly
Absolutely.
In the background.
Always, man. The vegans, they watch, vegans. Man.
Yeah.
65% of my audience is not subscribed. Those are all vegans.
Wow. I look at my video stats and it's like 80% unsubscribe, watch the videos. Like, how is that even possible? My shit shouldn't even be popping up in people's feed. I'm that irrelevant.
Well, I think that you have your money views, so it's so different from your audience that like people are getting it in their recommended videos, and it's not even your primary audience watching it at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's my guess.
Why I
anyway,
wanted to go a bit more of that niche of mindset, money, freedom from the grind. Crypto is a big thing. People they rave on about it, how good it was, and then they don't talk about it. Like I didn't, but I'm still working at it. And then you start talking about it again, everyone hates on you again. And you're like, fuck, man, it's how cycles work. Like, what are you gonna do?
Ted Carr, man, I got to tell you guys, out of all the vegans that were out there in Hawaii, Ted was one of the ones I wanted to meet the most because he's a fascinating weirdo. But Ted actually does, I mean, except for lately, because I know that he's taken something that he's not sharing with the audience regarding protein powders or something. Even though Ted, your belly, listen, summer's coming up, dude. Your belly is getting out of control. We need to cut that thing, dude. Need to cut the gut. Anyway, sorry, Jason.
Cut the gut, Ted. No, that's all right. I comment on Ted stuff on Facebook often, where he'll post a question, never reply to anyone in the chat, and just enjoy the questions and comments coming in.
Ted is not a consumer of social media. He's only a producer. Ted Carnivore! Ted Carnivore! I love it. Hey, Ted.
Right, what's next? What's next on our pivot?
Let's see here.
Get on to Ted.
Somebody said I think Drew wants to be 1% body fat. Oh, have you ever, what's your experience with fasting? Let's talk about that a little bit, because I have actually done a lot of intermittent fasting the past 6 months or so, but do you have any extensive experience trying it out for a significant period of time?
In intermittent fasting since June of last year.
All
so
right.
Coming up to a year, let's say 10 months, 11 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's something that I was doing pretty strictly. 12 o'clock start eating, 12 p.m. Usually get up around 5 or 6 a.m. Finish eating by about 8 p.m. And then I sort of just played around with it a bit, reduce it a bit, start at 1 or 2 p.m., finish at 7, give it an 18-6 or a 16-8 window. I find it works pretty well. I do the black coffee in the morning until midday, just one. Not the American stuff, but, espresso coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I quite enjoy it. It seems to work. The last couple of days, just this week, I've eaten a bit more. So yesterday I started at 9 and finished at 9. I just need to get more food in my diet. Just training and surfing so much. I wasn't eating the foods that I needed to in that window. And maybe animal products will be better in that window because they're, you know, more calorically dense.
Oh my God, you're gonna love it, bro. Seriously. How much food are you eating? What's your caloric intake like right now? How much protein are you eating?
I can't answer that. I just eat.
Do
I should eat
you?
more protein, I think. So
Yeah.
I've started having my vegan protein powder with it.
Okay.
I'll finish the bag and then I won't worry about it.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you're not taking any protein powder right now, though?
No, I'm taking protein powder.
Oh, okay.
Not much.
And
This is the Aussie. Prana, right?
gotcha. Are you noticing that there's a difference when you are not taking it, like as far as muscle mass or anything like that? I couldn't make any gains without protein powder as a vegan.
You what?
Later, Ted. I couldn't make any gains without protein powder as a vegan. That's for damn sure.
Interesting. I think it comes down to your training and then getting enough nutrients in. So, you know, if you had the right foods in, more protein, more fat, I think you'll definitely get gains because it's calories. You get more calories in. People usually stick to the peanut butter, right?
I did, yeah. I ate a lot of peanut butter, and that really fucked my digestion up.
Crazy. Yeah, look, the fasting I think is good because it gives your digestive system a break throughout the day. Maybe that goes different to what you know, if you're saying if it's the right thing to eat, then it doesn't matter. But I definitely feel giving your digestive system a break is a good thing. It lets yourself clean out a bit more. And I don't know, it just seems like it feels a lot better as well. Like I haven't eaten yet. I don't know, it's like 9:30 or something now. I've been up since 5:30. I'll grab a coffee after this and just go until 12 or 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
feel
enjoy
alert.
coffee.
I love training fasted, and I love going out for a surf fasted.
Same. I do like training. It took like a week or two to get used to training fasted, but once I did it, I never wanted to train after eating again.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you get the right nutrition the day before. Like in your eating window, eat enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been
so
noticing
much
that
lighter
too.
and you're agile. Go on.
It's very interesting once you go to the, like, if you do try all carnivore, because you're not getting any carbohydrates at all. It's interesting how your body is different, how it feels different. Like you don't have the same type of explosive power. And I'm wondering, like, how does your body feel? Like, I know you're getting results. I know you're getting stronger. I know you're maintaining muscle mass, but how do you actually feel while you're doing this exercise? And it will be, I want you to like remember how you feel now, like let's say doing explosive hard lifts like deadlifts, and then once you go to animal foods, I want you to like really think into that and be like, how does it feel when I do these explosive type exercises that require like a lot of muscle recruitment? Because I would imagine that there would be an element that's letting you go harder and letting you like really dig deeper into the body once you start incorporating the animal foods.
All right, I'll obviously keep an eye on it.
Yeah,
it's always something I'm thinking about. That's why I'm interested in experimenting. And now I'm doing CrossFit, something I said I would never ever do. But the beauty about it is it doesn't have to be called CrossFit. It can be Olympic lifting and gymnastics, but whatever, CrossFit. Because essentially I'm learning all Olympic lifts. So that stuff is explosive and dynamic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Deadlifts are awesome. I love doing them, but trying to do like a clean and jerk at a heavier weight without fucking any of your muscles, that's at speed, you know, like that's cool.
Man, I was not interested in doing those type of big lifts, explosive lifts as a vegan. Like that's why I originally probably went towards the calisthenic route, because I felt like it's more like it's less stressful on the body at any one point in time. It's more about reps and form and stuff like that. And yeah, I've gotten gains and I like it, but even recently I've been starting to think to myself like, okay, I've done a solid 6 months on calisthenics, on meat. Like I know now definitely what can be done. I'm considering going back to the gym basically and like really starting to like get the power on, because I know like that my body can handle doing that stuff. I can recover from it. Whereas before as a vegan, I was like, like I was starting to steer away from it just because I felt like one full gym session would just break my body down. Did you
think you ate enough calories before?
Oh, fuck yeah. I was eating so much calories as a vegan. Like my digestion was fucked. I was tracking up to 3,500 calories a day. And I was only 150 pounds, 70 kilos or whatever.
again, I just go back to the thing. I'm like, whatever you think your body can do and whatever it feels like, brilliant.
Mhm.
That was like, I took up surfing 2 years ago in Hawaii, 2017. Yeah. And I was like, I just feel like I should be out on a surfboard. Like it just looking at it and just the feel of like gliding down those waves. I was like, I need to go and do that. And now with the CrossFits, like I just feel like I need to be lifting these weights in an explosive way. And I've had back problems for nearly 10 years. And it's like I'm getting through the back problems along with some of the most like craziest, heaviest lifts that I've ever done. And
Mhm.
I can say it's a diet or I could say it's not. I just think it's my mind and I'm like, I'm ready to do this now. I didn't start driving a manual car until I was 27. You know, I had an
Mhm.
automatic license. I think the US, you guys all have autos, but we have the two here.
Mhm.
And I was driving an auto for 10 years and then all of a sudden I'm like, the manual makes sense. I went out and got my
Mm.
license like that. It was crazy. Riding a
Right.
motorbike, I've never been able to. I just went and got my motorbike just two
It's
and a
like
half
you were
years ago,
ready.
you know? What's
Mentally and
that?
physically. It's like you're ready mentally and physically to do a new activity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's proved to me that it's within you. It's like it's your mind. When you're ready, you're ready. It happens. Diet is
Absolutely.
definitely a very big, it plays a big part. I'm not going to say vegan is the right way, and we've gone through that already. So I'm just, yeah, mindset thing is fucking crazy.
All right, guys, let's start to get some questions in for our boy Jason here, our guest of the day. I do see a lot of the familiar faces. I thank you all for being here. I love it. Ashley says, Tiana, it's almost like our mental capacity to be logical was handicapped almost because we were not getting proper nutrition to our brains. I am a completely different person now. I'm assuming that you went to the animal food side, Ashley. Congratulations to you, by the way. That's great. That sounds great.
A lot of people were writing that on my post as well, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm glad you're finding health again." And I'm like, look, physically, something else will happen, right? But mentally, and I just keep stressing that it's like, just do not lock yourself into one thing. You'll limit your
Definitely.
growth. You'll limit everything.
Nathan says, I see it all the time. I train Olympic lifts and powerlifting. I would never do those lifts for time. Oh, he's talking about CrossFit. He just thinks that CrossFit is bad because it emphasizes speed over form. And yeah, which you can have
It
your
definitely
opinion on that.
emphasizes speed, but you need to have form. Otherwise, you cannot do it. So if you're going
Right.
to be at the top of the field, you have to have your form. You know, you can get
Yeah.
away with some slight things off, but overall, your form needs to be there.
Okay, we have a vegan here, Joseph Kendrick. If taxation is theft, then why is milk not theft?
Joseph stayed with me for a week. I'm in the room that he stayed in.
Wow.
He was cycling around
Traitor.
Australia, the crazy bastard.
Madman.
Madman. Why is milk from a cow not theft?
Right. Well, yeah. You first,
Like,
Jason.
all right, let's say from a Hare Krishna point of view, there's extra milk that is produced. The cow isn't asking, do not take the milk. It's gladly offering up the milk.
It wouldn't make it extra if it wasn't meant to be used by us. We don't know otherwise. I mean,
Yeah,
like you said earlier, there's human rights and there's animal rights, and people are like, well, what about the animal? And you're like, yeah, what about the animal? It's an animal. Like they're not the same.
No, that's right. And people, and the vegan thing is to put so much human emotion and so much human into the animal. And it's like, no, the animal's just being an animal. Just let it be itself. It's not asking me not to kill it. It doesn't want to die because that's just how nature works. If something wanted to die in nature, we wouldn't have it. It would die out.
Everything is trying to survive. It's literally been trying to survive its entire species lifespan. So
yeah, you know, there's little videos of guys sitting next to cows or girls, and the cows are like licking them on the ear. It's like they just want to learn and understand what's around them.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like, hey, the animal might have sentience. The animal might cry when its baby's taken. The animal might scream when it's being inseminated or whatever. But guys, again, this is why I stick to the human health argument back over and over and over. If we need to eat these animals for optimal health, then that stuff needs to be done. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is, and I don't feel bad about it. Does that make me a bad person? Don't care.
It makes sense. But like for the dairy thing, I'm not promoting dairy in the way that, you know, if we go to a dairy farm and it's like, you know, it's pretty rough stuff.
All right.
It's, you know, I guess I'll look out for myself and go and check it out. And I've never
Jason,
been
you're
one
gonna
for
love
that much
that dairy.
anyway. What's that?
You're gonna love that dairy, man. Once you try that once that raw milk hits your lips.
I don't even think of that stuff. I only think of hard cheese, mate. I'm Italian.
Dude, you're gonna be
Parmesan, all that stuff. That would be.
You're gonna be
what
loving
I'm
it.
at. You know, it's like leftovers, and they've had to ferment it and do what they have to it, and then it sort of sits there for the winter, and it's used sparingly or how much it needs to be used. It's not wasted.
Clown Mazard says Eisel said that Jason is a fake ex-vegan who is doing it for views.
Guys will say anything he needs to say. I'll still send me the video too. Like him and I would still be talking on Facebook. Yeah, he sent me the video that he made. I think he's made it yesterday or the day before. He just sends me the link. I'm like, cool, bro. I'll thank Beth for your thumbnail, you know, because her tits are in the thumbnail.
Right. Hey, that'll get more views.
What's that?
It'll help get more views. Is he even a relevant man? Should we watch it right now? Have you seen it?
I started watching it, but like I don't hate Eisel. I'll still talk with him. I still do talk with him, but he just rants like I do. But he rants for his views, and I rant for my views. You know.
They said
it goes down the path of that philosophical, scientific base, so that you know you try and like stun your audience, talk them in circles, and they think you're a god or a guru.
He's got a way with words, you know.
Yeah.
He's you could tell he's a very well literarily researched man and well-read guy that speaks in a way that is like captivating and sort of make you sound smarter than you probably are, you know?
I wouldn't say that like he's definitely like that. He is smart. But
sure.
Yeah, like you said, he you know, that's what you do. You're persuasive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same way with Earthling Ed. The way I've already broken down the way that he like presents to his audience, like the way that he stands in front of the audience. He stands in such a way which makes him so hateable. But if you were to react on it, you would be the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like he's so like offering his body to you, like he's waiting for like that CIA bullet through the chest. But if you were the one to deliver that, like he would be martyred, and like his job would be done, you know, like he would be accomplished at that point. Like he's waiting for that crazy carnivore to just like punch him right in the face, and he's hoping for that. The way that he's like standing there, like offering his body with like his palms towards you, like it's like he's Jesus, you know, waiting to be crucified.
I was about to say Jesus.
He's the vegan Jesus, 100%, dude. Somebody said
it's
that's
sad
kind of
though
a
because
question.
Jesus was a good person. I don't think Earthling Ed's doing this for. I'm sure
Earthling
he's a good
Ed
person,
is getting
but
paid.
Just the whole message is fucking sick. Like they don't know what they're talking about.
Raw milk till 4 is the way to go. I like that. Raw milk till 4.
Has Joseph come back with anything?
Joseph. He has not said anything yet. Ron Paul Girl says everything is everything, according to Pizzino and some other idiots on this thing. Interesting. I don't know what you mean, Ron Paul Girls.
Was it all in capitals?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I like Ron Paul. Ron Paul's cool.
Yeah, Ron Paul Girls. Yeah, he's great. I told him I like Trump, so now he's off my back.
Yeah, but I mean, Ron Paul himself is good.
Oh, Ron Paul. Yeah, he's in theory. Yeah.
In theory. Go on. In practice?
I think in practice he would be kind of weak in the actual office. Like I don't think people take him seriously, so it's like he would be ineffective, basically. You know.
Gotcha.
Ron Paul Girls says that there are many great vegan cheeses, idiots, also in capitals. So it caught my eye because it was in capitals.
And that's right. That's what they always do.
Tiana says
I wouldn't even pay attention to Ron Paul unless they paid you.
Tiana asks, Drew, do you feel manlier since eating meat? Yes, definitely. My aggression is up. My durability in all ways is up.
Your
other
aggression.
sexual aggression. Yeah, ability to put your will on somebody else, like your desire to force your will on somebody else. Like there's a thing in MMA, wrestlers have it. They break people, they grind them into the cage and they impose their will, they say. Like,
right.
in my opinion,
Right.
I'm capable of doing that now, or more capable of doing that. So it's something that comes to mind now. Like, it's an option, It's like, no, I do not agree with you and fuck you. I have more of that mindset and I enjoy it. I do enjoy it.
You're more clear on your beliefs now. It happened to be carnivore or something else. You're more, you better.
Definitely. That's a great way to put it. Damn, I wish Ted was still in here because I'd like to talk about Nofap, which I think is stupid. Somebody was saying something about male orgasm, but something about if you don't bust when okay.
There's something to be said about it, but I don't think you need to go on about it and do it for fucking 300 days or whatever it is. You don't think so? I think there is something to keep your energy. Depending on the time. Go on.
There's something about it, but it's not something that should be like these guys that are like 30 days Nofap changed my life. Like, what the fuck were you doing before that? Like, how do you think that makes this big of a difference? It makes no sense. Like the end game from I've been wanting to rant about this for a while, actually. It was not enough to make a video, but I just think it's so stupid. The pivot. It's like, okay, so your goal with Nofap is to be more successful with girls. A lot of these guys. Then you become more successful with girls, but now you are in the state where you can't bust. So what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah.
So you're now you're great with girls, but you're absolving from the one thing, abstaining from the one thing that you want to do with them. Does that make sense? Like, the end goal is to be better with them, so now you're not doing that, so what's the point anyways?
There's a bit of both. I was actually just talking about this with my mate last night who's done I think he was on Nofap for some time. He's fucking excellent with women. Full carnivore. He was the one that showed me Bobby's stuff. A friend from Sydney here. Anyway, he was just telling me about it, and he had some girl coming over last night. But the Nofap thing for him, and I take this as well, it's kind of like the intention of the girl as well. Like if you're just there to fuck and then move on, that's one thing. And if the intention of the girl is just to take your energy, because that's kind of like the whole sexual thing, right? Guys think, oh, fuck it, I just fucked this chick, I'm doing so well. But they don't realize that the chick is taking that energy. And that's sometimes why they want it and they don't care. Whereas if it's like a good intention between two people, then that's sweet. Do the come, do what you have to do. But in terms of the other way, I think that's probably a good time not to come.
Yeah,
but it's your intention too to be a prick. So you lose out.
Well, I've talked to people who basically just never orgasm as a man or never ejaculate, even while they're having sex with a partner. And I just find that pointless. Like, what are you doing? Unless, I just don't really understand that. But anyway, Tim Sheaf eats a piece of fish, then has a hands-free orgasm. That's true.
People give that guy so much fucking shit about drinking piss. I'm amazed. I get all those comments on mine too. I'm like, fuck, man, like, calm down. It's a bodily fluid. I'm not saying I'm going to drink it, but it's not the end of the world. Like, people drink Coke and all this other shit.
Yeah. Did Jason get that vasectomy as Gregor demanded?
Did not. No, I've mentioned that heaps of times. No vasectomy. No vasectomy at all.
That video
I'm having kids.
Drives me insane, man. Just the whole thing. Your reaction, Henya's reaction, Gregor's suggestion. Yeah, baby. You heard him. Fucking slaps you in the chest. I'd be like, what? What'd you just do?
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Anyways, so how many vegan chicks supplement with heavy cream? Wow, that's a deep question there. A friend that eventually... Jesus. Okay, Alva, that was very intense.
Alva.
Joseph, your buddy, says Nofap improves your sex life and general aura, energy, and mindset. Again, if you have a problem like you masturbate 3 times a day, Nofap might be something that you want to embark on.
Agreed.
But if you're just like a regular ass person, I don't think that you really need to worry about Nofap or regular Fap. I think it's kind of irrelevant. And I know that people take it the extra way and they just like do the no bust situation. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not thinking about trying to jerk off every day. I've got shit to do.
Same. Yeah.
And if I'm going to use that energy, I'm like, I've trained so much. I've gone out an hour and a half at the gym, then another hour and a half surfing. And like my energy's, I'm sapped. I just want to like eat some food, chill out, do some work.
Exactly. And I think that
I'm not thinking about fucking jerking off all the time.
People are asking what's a normal amount of masturbation. 3 times a day is too much. I don't know. Once a day, once every other day, once every third day, you're probably pretty normal. But listen, the best people that I want to share this with people. The best guys that I knew with women were having sex with a lot of different women. They were not practicing goddamn nofap. They were busting. And that didn't affect how good they were with women, even 1%. In fact, it was probably the opposite. Probably the more they did it, the more they released themselves, the more the women liked it. I mean, the more connection that they felt and the more women they were emotionally able to abuse, basically. So
there's a bit of both in that. The guys that are fucking, like my mate that I'm talking about, he decided to do it because he wants to focus on himself. So he was excellent with women already. Like you could pick up anywhere. They want it as well.
Right.
But now he's like, I want to focus on my health. I want to focus on my wealth, all this shit. And he doesn't want that other distraction because he can already achieve that.
Right.
Yeah, another mates that are doing it, they do it. They got other shit going on in their life. They don't need Nofap. But like you said, it has its place. If people need a fucking fast off jerking off, then they need to do that.
Yeah, it's similar to the vegan thing. Hey, try it. If it works for you and you get some benefit from it, I don't think you're hurting anybody. Go for it.
Yeah, and if they need to improve their aura and their, let's turn this back on. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, if they need to improve their aura and their how they feel about themselves, and that's going to help them, great.
Right. CMC said, not only are the alphas plowing through 80%, they're also fapping on the side. That's exactly what I'm telling you. That's the real world. The horniest guys are the guys who are getting laid the most. That's the bottom fucking line, guys. It's the bottom fucking line. I could do a whole podcast about going to the club, hanging out with dudes that are getting hella chicks and all that shit. Trust me, I've been to the trenches for years and years and years. I know all about it. I know all fucking about it.
I was at my mate's place the other night he barely has to try anymore with these chicks. And I went over with Beth and he invites 2 girls over to see which one wants him more. And so whichever one wins, that's the one for the night. The other one went home. The other one was like, nice. Sweet, we can do a 3-way, but didn't want to. The other one went home. Yeah.
He's got game. He's got something that's... See,
he's got big game. And
here's the thing.
Either.
Guys who will want to aspire to that think that that's teachable. They think that that's learnable. It's really not. Yes, you can improve a little bit, and there's no reason why you shouldn't try. But that type of thing is something that guy's probably been doing forever. Because, again, it comes down to forever. How bad do you want it?
It's every part of your lifestyle as well.
Right.
You're doing well with your business. You're doing well with other things because you have the feel about you.
Right. You've been confident for a long ass time. And again, it goes back to like the surfing thing that you talked about, like your desire, your motivation. Like he wanted to be good at that early on. Yeah. Like he decided probably when he was 16, like I want to do this and be very, very good with chicks. Like he's honing. And then you've got like I always see these foreign guys in these like, pickup artist communities, like because they have no game, they have no confidence, they're coming from like India or something, and they go hire these guys in Vegas for like $5,000 for the week and try and do some boot camp programs. Like, dude, you're never ever going to be like that guy. It's just not going to happen. So go focus on being a millionaire. Because at least if you fail with chicks with money, at least you get to have money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They just need to focus on something other than the thing that they really like. They want this so bad, they're not going to get it. They need to focus on themselves and doing other shit, improving themselves.
Yeah, it won't be satisfying even if they do get it. They think that's what they want, but it's really, they're going to have to try so hard, and they're going to have to become this different person than they really are anyways. And even when they do succeed, it's not going to be sustainable and it's not going to be enjoyable. It's not really who they are.
Yeah. Yep.
CMC says you should do that. That's good socio-sexual hierarchy content. I think me and you need to do that. That's that cast, CMC.
Charles, I'll do some parenthood cast with you when I have kids.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Desperation is attractive. I do agree with that. You do not want to wear that. T Tribby says, Drew, upload a short response to an Eisel video every day until he self-destructs. I didn't even know he was still making videos. Is that a thing? Eisel really makes videos on a constant basis still?
I assume so. Sunny again.
Yeah, it's brighter now than it was an hour ago, if you guys remember, but it's actually been raining, so crazy. Redheaded Princess says, if you're a millionaire, you will get chicks. There will always be girls that want them just because of that. But see, I look at it this way. I look at it like having money and getting girls with that is the same shallow way to get girls as being like a person with game that's just looking to hook up anyways and like going up and like learning cool pickup lines and ways to pick up chicks and like sort of playing their psychology against them. It's like the same shallow interaction because that's not really you anyways either. So it's like, fuck it. I'd rather, if I had my choice, I'd rather be a normal person with a bunch of money that just like was honest. Like, okay, you like me for my money. Big deal. Like, honestly, being a pickup artist is so sleazy that that's worse to me. Like that's fucking dorky.
What's worse about it? Because you think that's all there is?
Well, at least when you're doing the pickup artist thing, you're faking who you are. You're like acting, basically.
Oh, okay. So there are definitely a few who look like they're faking. Fucking oath. I got a good friend that I met who does it. He has got a big pickup channel as well. David Bond. You can probably check that out. It's probably like 300,000-400,000 subs. Wow. So I met him in Thailand last year. He had 100,000. It just fucking skyrocketed from there. But he got it big as well. Like, loved taking the piss out of the Asian media. And got featured on like Hong Kong news and Taiwan, Japan, all this stuff. And but he just does the whole pickup thing as well, but adds in, mindset development and just tells these Indian dumb, fucks that you're not going to pick up chicks. Exactly what you said. He's like, you've got to be.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Huh?
I've never heard anybody approach that. I almost didn't say that. Didn't even say Indian because like, it's fucking racist.
Oh, that's what you can see in the comments. It's just the Indians. Right. Like it is what it is. I know it's racist. People think it's racist. Like that's who they are. The Pakistanis, Indians, probably some Arabs. And his channel's it's fun as well. He'll be traveling in Thailand. He's got his one main chick over there, and chicks everywhere. And he's just honest. Tells them that what it is. This is what I do. If you like it, great. If not, you don't have to be with me.
Well, it's like Tiana said, once you have money, I mean, basically, like you're going to have access no matter what. So that's what I'm saying is like, okay, my point here is this.
He was able to build a business with that. So he was able to build a business with his pickup. He's got monthly subscriptions. People want to pay however much a month. And he shows everything that he makes. He's like over $100,000 a year now, making from his pickup channels and websites and whatnot.
CMC says the pickup stuff is a little rapey, or at least that's how it comes across. I agree. It's corny, man. Like it's again, I knew a bunch of guys that were very successful with women in the club days, and not one of them. They were all emotionally abusive in their own ways, but not one of them was corny like that. Like they were all actually this person. So they weren't like Mr. fucking sweetheart dorky dude on the weekends gaming it up in their closet, with their boxers on. And then like on the weekend, they were like, "Oh, what's up, girl?" Like, "Oh yeah, you like that? You like when a guy does that to you?" Like that's what the fucking pickup artist community gets you to believe. And then there's like these Indian guys out there they're gonna get slapped in the face, like for real. If you go up and call some woman a dog, you're a dog in their face. Hey bitch, you're a dog. What do you think's gonna happen?
Not that shit.
That's go look up Julian
that's the
from
game. Oh
Yeah.
right, who?
Julian. His name is Julian. He's a RSD
right.
guy.
All right, no, he doesn't work like that. But anyway, I get that there'd be a lot of them that would do that. The ones that he does now, he carries around like a ton of dildos everywhere. They just have fun in their apartments wherever they are, invite people over, have parties.
Yeah, well, once you get to a certain level,
Trump masks and SJW t-shirts and, you know, I'm for socialism. Like they just fuck around and take the piss.
that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, once you reach a certain status, obviously then it becomes you for real. Like once you have a certain amount of success monetarily and with women, like, yeah, at some point it does become you and you're just kind of like, fuck it anymore. And then like, that's going to actually get you more return on your investment and energy anyway.
Yeah, you're being you.
Right.
Cool.
Ashley says there's an energy or aura that guys have that isn't something you can just teach. I guess you could call it confidence, but they never cross the line to cockiness. Girls know when it's effortless. Yes.
Girls can pick up the fucking emotion like nothing. You think you're not giving it off, and they've got it, and you're like, oh. Yep. So the only way you can get around is just be you. And if you're a piece of shit, then you got to work on that.
Right. Joe Pearson is out. He says I'm boring AF. Okay, that sounds good.
He was never even here. He came in for a sec to drop a comment.
Just to say I hate you. He's probably still here anyways. CMC says just remember to eat your salmon before making the cold approaches. Yeah, so you're just hard as a rock, right? You're going in hot. I love it.
I'll go get my what did Charles eat? Dairy. I think it was the first thing he was calling him, some tub of cream or something.
Charles I call him the roast beef chief.
Who?
Charles Marlowe, because he's always eating the the packaged roast beef, just like eating it in his van. He's like, man, people. Oh. He's like consoling to me a few weeks ago before we even did our live. He's like, man, people have been getting on me for eating roast beef all the time. Like, this is what I eat, and he like shows me a picture of it. And I just like, I felt like I was like, oh, like this poor guy. Like people are really getting on his ass. You know, he's like, man, I just want to eat my roast beef. You know. It's like the Oscar Mayer roast beef, like the standard shit. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, the roast beef chief, man. He said he had 3 huge roast beef sandwiches. Good. And Elise says, ha 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 ha. If you're a piece of shit, then you need to work on that. Yes. Somebody said if you're a piece of shit, you need to work on it. I agree with that.
All right, good.
Yes,
I'm glad no one disagrees with that.
No, work on being a piece of shit. The more of a piece of shit you can be, guys, a lot of times the more successful you can be with the wrong kind of women. How about that? That's a fact. The wrong kind. The right kind, they get a little wise to your bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jason, what do you say we start wrapping this up here?
Perfect.
I think that we had a good little session here. Thank you. First time chatting with you. Thank you for coming on the channel and meeting me and meeting the audience as
Likewise,
well.
I had a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone. This has always been like my dream is to, just make an income, make something, and have fun and just doing a fucking podcast.
Absolutely. I think that...
Love it.
Yeah, there's so much more that could be done too. There's so much more like... Again, we had a lot of fun today. We discussed a lot of the, your personal social vegan experiment parameters and stuff like that. But again, like simultaneous to this is like 2 guys out there in the real world eating vegan and eating carnivore that have swapped diets, and like they're going to come back on in a couple of weeks. And there's a lot. I saw that one. We can really.
I think he had his first bite of steak.
Yes, and I'm going to make a video soon. It's going to be called Invite the Bite series, where I have vegans for the first time coming on the channel, eating their first bites of animal foods, and then sharing that experience with us in a very like intentional way. Like they're going to explain the situation, how they're feeling, what things come to their mind as the conversation goes on. So
And are these vegans just any vegans that have been vegan for a period of time?
I'd say
Or
at least a few years. Give me at least 3 years minimum.
all right.
If you're a vegan for 6 months, you're just you made the right decision, but you don't get
Well,
a
how
spot on
about
the channel.
when I decide I'll come back to you as well. Like I don't want to do this on my channel because I don't know. It's still like I'm in that point of I have respect or whatever it is.
Yes.
I don't want to be like, hey, my audience, I'm eating a piece of fish.
Yeah, they're like,
But I'm
God damn
happy
it,
to
we're
put it on
still
your
dealing.
channel.
They're still grieving,
that's like,
Jason.
yeah, you said you're going to be humble, and now you're just shoving it in our face. But I think it's a good experiment if you want to put it on your channel.
Bring it on back here. Bring it on back here. We'll do a show. We'll and I wanted my next person to be somebody who people knows. So you're perfect for this, and people already know that you're doing it. And because you've been around the health community and the health focused fitness nutrition community for a while, like I think that you'll be able to have a more connected experience with the food where you're going to be able to like a little bit more eloquently and like you'll be able to use the words that we're familiar with, be like, oh, this is happening, I'm feeling this, and you're going to be able to accurately compare it in a little bit more depth than like somebody who's just like Joe Blow off the street that doesn't really know if, he's just like, oh, I feel okay, like it's fine. I want like
Yeah,
a little bit more depth.
gotcha. All right, I can't say I'll eat carnivore because I will be in Europe and there's a lot of good shit over there.
Well, just your first bites of any animal foods. You don't have to be going carnivore. It's just, to me, it's like it's art. It's beyond science. It's art. To share that moment with somebody and to have you share that with the rest of the world is fucking artistic, man. Like,
all right, I'm down.
It's a beautiful experience, I think. All right,
cool, bro.
Thanks for coming on again, Jason. Pleasure. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Peace out.
Take it easy, bud. All right, guys. What is going on? Now, we have Jason Pizzino there sharing his wonderful story with us. And again, I want to bring any vegan in the future that wants to share their experience eating animal foods in the future, bring them in. I want to share that first bite with us. It will be amazing. Any little updates on Joe and Chase? People are asking about my boys in the field. They're actually doing well. Joe and Chase are, Joe's posting daily content on his channel, on his Instagram. If you guys want to follow him, I will write it right here. And these are their two Instagram names. Of course, YouTube just didn't let me do that. Apparently, I can't type in my own chat. Give me a second. Oh, you ate your first bite last night after 8 years, Rosie? Tell us about it. How did it go? I want to hear about it. Carnival banned me. These are their Instagrams, by the way, guys. If you want to go follow them and check it out. They're both sharing their meals and different realizations and things along the way. So it's just giving us a lot more content to pull from when we bring them back on the channel in 2 weeks. It'll be really cool. So dark. Why would you get banned? You didn't say anything crazy. I told you, I only ban people that are being annoying trolls. It's not so much what they're saying, it's how often they're saying it and when they don't let it go. That's what becomes annoying. I'm pretty hard to offend. I think I enjoy offending people, so therefore I give a little bit of leeway back towards me, if that makes sense. Please never ban me. I will not ban you. Next time I will come with a do-rag on my head, LA Methwitch, just for you. Vegan drama to the end of the world. I don't think I'm going to be covering vegan drama all that much. I mean, is that what you guys really want? I know it is what a lot of you want. Any questions for me before we head out here, guys? We are approaching the end of the stream. I've had a lot of fun today. Let me know who you think I should interview next. Again, I'm going to be setting up a video to have more vegans come on the channel and eat their first bites, and I cannot wait for that. Jordan Peterson's wife had liver failure on the carnivore diet. That's the first I've heard of this. Ted drama. You guys want Ted? You guys want Ted Carr drama? Oh, I would love to have high carb Hannah. I'm trying to get Tanny Raw on the channel. And I'm trying to get yeah, we'll see. We'll see who we can get. I want to talk to some more vegans. I want to talk to some feisty vegans. I thought we were going to have Tara from Living Free on the channel. She like I said, guys, she called me out, talked a bunch of shit. And then when I actually talked back to her, she told me to go fuck myself. And then she blocked and banned me. And I never said anything mean to her at all. Very sad. Very disappointing. I would have high carb Anna. We will definitely be having raw alignment very soon. Definitely not a vegan anymore. Who's rude? Someone was an expert with my music earlier. They're like, is this San Holo? How did they know that? Dan the Man? I would love to have Life Regenerator. Such a cute couple. Oh, thank you. Hey, thank you, Mr. Pizzino. I'm very happy for you. I'm very excited for you to be able to try some bomb seafood in Europe. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, Frank Tufano. I need somebody who's gonna ruffle some feathers, man. I don't need any more teammates, man. Carnivore teammates boring, man. I want some vegans with fight left in them, with a brain left in them, that want to argue about some shit. Rosie, how was your experience last night eating meat for the first time in 8 years? Tell us about it. I think the vegans are legit scared of me at this point. The vegan assassin has claimed a lot of lives, guys. A natural vegan, I could see her wanting to come on. Ooh, vegan Ava. She's another vasectomy. Got her little 19-year-old boyfriend like a couple years ago to snip his balls. Poor guy. I don't think any of those people would ever try and get on here with me. Was it vegan Ava or vegan? One of them got their boyfriend to chop his nuts. Which one was trolling you, Pizzino? Oh, a natural vegan. Okay. Yeah, she will definitely... That's a good adversary. I will invite her on for a discussion. Banana Blondie, I would have her on too, but I don't think she would come on. I've already talked to... damn it, what's his name? Her ex-boyfriend. Plant-based athlete. I forgot his actual name. He doesn't seem to want to be interested in coming on. You got drunk to eat animal food for the first time? But it was good. You said it was delicious. All right, cool. Vegetable Police, hands down, has the #1 slot. Definitely. I want him on. Yeah, I'll hit up Unnatural Vegan today, guys. Man, did you guys see the exchange that Lilycoy and I had on my last video with Megan? You guys should go read that. I pinned it at the top of that chat if you guys want to see some real drama. I pinned her comment at the top of that board, and I responded to her, and we both had a large conversation about a lot of stuff. It was Vegan Ava. Yeah, thought so. That's on the thread of... That's on the Megan Elizabeth video, the full-length video that we did on Saturday. I would have Vegan Foot Soldier on, but I don't think he would. He declined to come on. And then I took away his privileges. I said, consider the invitation rescinded. Because he's being a little fucking crybaby. He said that my audience is toxic and that there's nothing that they would offer to his audience, or there would be no crossover or benefit. So whatever. I don't think Mick the Vegan would waste his time. A lot of these really big guys, they're too big to recognize you, even though we've had people on there that are just as big as they are. Homegrown Bid, yeah. He's cool too. Somebody was really organic, really wanted me to interview him. Should hit him up too. There's quite a few people out there. I'm glad that you guys have said a lot of suggestions. Yeah, that Lilikoi post is huge, but it really covers a lot of stuff, and you just kind of see the mindset. Here's what I'll say about Lilikoi, and I don't know her in person, but she is smart. She chooses very wisely which parts of my post to respond to and which ones not to. And once she is completely out of options and cornered, she completely just backs away from the conversations. Very smart tactic. She knew she lost, basically, so she just disappeared. And to her credit, she did not delete the entire thread. I respect that. Correct. She's clever, but she's not seeing the points. And she seems to, like, bob and weave on some of the things that I tell her, and then she moves on. The post is in the Megan Elizabeth video for anybody looking to see that. I'll actually post it up here for you guys. Ooh, we might have a little bonus video, guys. Vegan Deterioration just launched a clip of Unnatural Vegan. We should watch that. What do you guys think? There you go. This is the video. Chase's latest Instagram. He's struggling. Let's check it out. See how he's doing. Yep. Day 7, man. That's when shit hit the fan for me as a carnivore. Does not surprise me. I do need to get health coach Kate on here. You're right. I'm gonna have her and Raw Lyman on very soon. The Lilikoi post is at the top of the thing that I just linked, if anybody's trying to read that. You're going to have to expand it. It's pinned at the top. It's a lot about, like, Hawaiian politics. Basically, some SJW bullshit. So. Nice. Thanks, Mouthwitch. Let her know. You want data and not ethics talk? Ethics is fucking stupid. I wish Brighton Fuller was still in California. I would interview her in person. Really crazy when I look at the comment section of some of these videos, like the one I did with Megan, how many how many vegans come to the rescue of liking and supporting their fellow vegan comrades in the comment section. Like, they don't make their own posts, but like if somebody like Rainy Symbiotic Solutions or Lilikoi posts, you have like 15 or 20 people liking the comment. Just no minds of their own. You know, they don't share anything of their own. They just like the comment. Crazy. Yeah, the Lilikoi post is very long, but it's also very telling of the type of mindset that she has. It's very hard for people outside of that situation to understand really what's going on there, but it's bullshit. Tess. Welcome, Tess, at the very end. I could say hi and I could say bye. I think we're going to dip out of here in a second. 80-10-10 macros. That diet has been dead for so long. Everything comes back in style, though. I saw some woman the other day. She's in her like 50s or 60s. She was holding up the 80-10-10 book. She's like, I got a hold of this great book, 80-10-10, about a few months ago, and I've been following. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Where have you been? 80-10-10 has been dead for 5 years, and then now people are like bringing it back. All right, guys, we're going to cut it here. We just hit 3 hours on the total stream time. Thank you all for coming and joining. I'm going to be making some new content soon regarding this Invite the Bite series. And we'll see who else we can get on the channel for other awesome interviews. Ooh, Ravana would be great. Appreciate all the suggestions. Appreciate everybody showing up. All the super likes, super chats that people threw down. And we will see y'all later. Goodbye, everybody.